By the
By
way,
the way,
I love
I
how
love
they
how
say
they
this guy was allegedly shot and killed during a dispute. No, 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 no. He was shot and killed. The person who did it is alleged to have done it, but no, no, no. He was shot and killed.
What are we talking about? Sorry.
This actor Jonathan Joss, who was in
Oh,
Sports and
okay, yeah.
Recreation.
I just I
I
didn't know.
love. I'm sorry. I love how they say he was allegedly shot and killed. No, 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 no,
No, allegedly
no.
about
We have that confirmed on
unless
clear
he gets
authority.
up and walks away.
Right. Right. No, 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 no. Now it's alleged who did it, but no, 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 no. No, he was shot and killed.
Kevin Ball, I don't know if it's that they don't care or that they just can't get the good players. I mean, I know Indiana cares a little bit about baseball. I mean, there are a handful of Big Ten schools that do. I just don't know if you can be good up there. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just a lot harder. I was talking to my kid about it. If I were in East Carolina, I'd be like, Miami of Ohio made the tournament, played a couple of teams tough. I'd be looking at their roster to try to poach kids from. I'd be looking at the best MAC kids and say, you want to come to East Carolina where you might be able to play for a College World Series? We go to the tournament every year, by the way.
And the weather's a little better.
Right. I mean.
Yep. I mean, Coffin Ball, you should look up like Big Ten teams' first month schedules. They're in the state of Florida the whole month.
But they play so, and you hear from up there. I'm sure you remember some cold weather baseball games earlier in the season. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this first Tuesday of June. Hope your week got off to a good start. Boy, we've got a hell of a show for you. I hope the hosts don't screw it up. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Not only do we have a hell of a show lined up for you, we already have our poll question done and posted. Huh? That's
Fired up. Fired up. 1 day away from major sports, and Miller and Moulton got busy in the last 24 hours. Booked a hell of a show, and we've got a poll question up. We're ready to go this morning.
I feel as if you and I should come out, do our opening number, and then just, bend at the waist and say thank you to the audience and have a good night.
There it is. There it is. But a terrific show lined up for you today. We're fired up about it. Dave Birkett will join us. He covers the Lions. They had a big announcement yesterday. Karl Smesko, former FGCU women's coach. He's now the head coach of the WNBA's Atlanta Dream. He'll join us for the first time since getting the WNBA gig. Our buddy John Forslund to set up the Stanley Cup Final. And David Samson at a new time. He will join us at 9 a.m. this morning.
And we understand that those of you not in Jacksonville and Southwest Florida do not get that live on the radio, so to speak, but the show is available via a few apps. And remember, every single hour is posted on MillerandMoulton.com as soon as the hour is over. So there. What's our poll question, Mark?
David, today is National Egg Day.
All
right. How do you like your eggs? Poached, fried, scrambled, hard-boiled. You and I will come in third and fourth in the voting today. Guaranteed. Write it down, book it. You like to win poll questions, I don't care. I just put my answer up. It's like voting in a primary in a primary where I never pick the right guy. Haven't in years. But I went poached. You went hard-boiled. They will finish third and fourth.
Which one do you think will finish fourth?
Probably poached.
Okay. All right.
Love a good poached egg. Done right. Dip that toast in there. Yolk spills. Life is good.
ladies and gentlemen, just be prepared. There are certain subject matters in which both of us kind of drift off. The one that I know that has always had Mark drift off is anything having to do with breakfast. Because deep down in a next life, because I don't think it's going to happen in this one, still a chance, but I don't think so. Mark Miller is going to own and operate a breakfast joint.
That'd be great. I mean, I'd go broke and lose all my money, and my wife would leave me. But I'd have a ball over in a restaurant.
He really would. It's what he wants to do. It's too much work. It's too risky. Okay, and probably a little too late in the game to do it. But all right, it's the only thing. You know how we talk about if we win the lottery, and Mark 99 times out of 100, he's like, yeah, if I win any sort of lottery, it's over. I'm done. I'm golfing. I'm doing nothing. The 1% chance, that he still gets up with a sense of purpose and does something in the morning is if he's won the lottery and he's like, you know what? I'm going to do a breakfast joint.
You're not far off.
6 to 10. That's it. I don't even know if I'll make lunch. I'm just going to do a breakfast joint. How long would it be open for if you won the lottery?
Well, first off, if I won the lottery, because if I ever buy a ticket, and I haven't bought a lotto ticket in a long time, but usually it's a pretty big number that gets me to buy a lottery ticket. Mm-hmm. So, David, if I won that, the odds of me working are really, really small.
Like I said, it's 1%. I think this is the only thing that would get you to do anything remotely associated with work.
It'd be 6 a.m. to 2. A lot of these breakfast joints around here, they do this 7 a.m. open. I would beat them. I'd be open an hour earlier to get people like me. I'd want that counter where the same 8 to 10 guys between the ages of 35 and 70 show up every day, and they all know one another's first name, and they have no clue about anything else about that person's life except for what they talk about for that hour at the breakfast joint. My dad used to stop. There was a Howard Johnson's, no hotel, but it was just a Howard Johnson's restaurant in our town. And he stopped there every morning before work. He'd get his coffee and sometimes breakfast or whatever. And this is back in the day when you could just woof heaters down at the restaurant. So Fred would have a couple of cups of coffee and 6 or 8 Pall Malls over the course of 15 minutes. And turned out in 7th grade, I transferred schools and started going to a Catholic school. Became really good friends with a person who I'm still friends to this day with. And I think it was like our 8th grade graduation. Catholic schools do the graduation thing for 8th grade. And at the 8th grade graduation, my dad and his dad start talking as if they're old friends. And the two of us can't figure it out. We find out that the two of them have been having breakfast at Howard Johnson's for like the last 6 years.
They wouldn't have, though, if you couldn't smoke those Pall Malls at the counter. That was the key. That was the key. The coffee and the Pall Malls. The food.
Young
was
kids
optional.
had no idea. I heard a bit yesterday about that, and it was just a video short of a woman that is our age roughly talking about planes and restaurants, and then just your car, because both my parents smoked, and what they thought was the right thing to do on a long trip was to alternate. Instead of both woofing down a heater at the same time and cracking the window, Fred would smoke one, then Jackie would smoke one. And it was just a constant fog in the back seat. It was just whether it was a Pall Mall fog or a Vantage fog. But there was like 6 hours of that, for crying out loud.
Well, listen, you were in college. We could still smoke on flights.
Right. Metal tube with the people in the back just woofing heaters down one after another.
Yep. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So did you see the video of Max Homa carrying his own bag for 36 holes in a U.S. Open qualifier? This ain't a member guest,
Yeah, David, Max Homa, and he nearly qualified for the Open, and we would probably be telling a different tale right now. But after reading the article and a lot of his comments, I don't know if Max Homa is in a good place right now.
Oh, no. Mark, he's definitely not.
He's an absolute mess right now.
Yes.
Hired one caddy. He's gotten rid of another caddy. carried his own damn clubs for 36 holes, 3 putts his 36th hole for par. It was a par 5 he was on in 2. He 3 putts for par that throws him in a playoff in which he loses in the playoff for one of the 6 spots available. He's in a terrible spot right now.
Didn't really.
But I like Max Homa. He's fun. Yep. He's really good with the media. You know, he does a lot of stuff with the Barstool guys. He's very accessible. He's a bit of an open book, which is great for people like us who are into seeing that. But man, he is in a bad spot right now, and I hope he can get out of it.
A year ago, he was in the top 10 in the world. Now he's ranked 90th, and that's why he didn't have status for the U.S. Open, and doesn't look like he's going to be playing in it. He's an alternate, but he's probably too far down the list, because not only that, he 4-jacked in the playoff when he had a chance to be first alternate, and he 4-putted. So he 3-putted from 25 feet when a 2-putt would have gotten him in the Open. And then when he had a chance to be first alternate, he 4-jacked it. This is what he said afterwards. Did you see the quotes about being a caddy? And he said, yeah, I actually kind of liked being alone on the course. All right. In fact, I think I need to be alone on the course. And I'm thinking to myself, you're playing in the Canadian Open this week. I mean, listen, it's one thing for you to carry your bag like in college for a qualifier. Do they even let you carry your own bag in an official PGA Tour event? I mean, can't you just have a caddy who doesn't speak? I mean, I had that role as a caddy, all right, that there were some guys, there's some members, they literally do not speak to them, okay, and just it's going to take 4 hours and they're not going to speak to you. You are literally just carrying the bags and they are going to stick their hand out and go 8-iron and you're going to hand it to them.
I almost tweeted at him yesterday and said, I'm available. I work cheap.
Yeah.
I can, believe it or not, it sounds strange. I can go 5 hours without talking. I can do it. In fact, usually when I leave the show, I spend most of the rest of the afternoon sitting in silence by myself.
I was going to say you do 11 to 4 every day without talking unless you're golfing. So, yeah. He needs a dog. He needs something. He needs a 4-day bender. He's in a bad spot.
He really is. And it's, you don't want to watch the train wreck, if you will, but it is going to be interesting to see how Max Homa plays the rest of this year and how his career goes. He's at the crossroads of his golfing career right now.
Well, yeah, because he's not 25. Isn't Max Homa in his 30s?
Yeah.
So it's, he's not like Spieth and JT who were playing amazing golf in their early to mid 20s.
He's 34.
Right. Max peaked in his early 30s here. So, yeah. Well, he had his best friend as his caddy, and his best friend quit on him, and he said, I love you. If I do this much longer, we're not going to be friends.
And then he picked up a pro jock, if you will.
Right.
And that didn't work out.
Nope. He couldn't find a caddy for the 36-hole qualifier. I mean, I can't.
Wouldn't you just call the club? And I'm being serious here. Hey, find me a kid.
Yes.
Find me some high school, college kid. I'll give him a couple $100.
Yeah.
Tell him to shut up. I don't need any advice. He's not reading the putt. He's just carrying my clubs.
Yeah.
And obviously, Homa got to the playoffs, so he even said it's not about the caddy, it's about the player today. But that's just crazy.
It is. You feel for him, yet at the same time, you can't take your eyes off the story.
Thank you.
Miller and Moulton. Great guest list. Dave Birkett, who covers the Lions. They had big news yesterday. How unexpected was it? John Forslund, as we begin to look ahead to the Stanley Cup Final. Our weekly visit with David Samson will take place 2 hours later on a Tuesday from now on at 9 a.m. Eastern. And Karl Smesko, Life in the WNBA, with a longtime friend of the show. Magic numbers, by the way, are 86 and 93 to the start of the respective football seasons. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sonny and Paula, I'm happy too, but let's remember it was the White Sox. Awesome for Carpenter to hit 3, no question, but It is the White Sox, after all. That's all. Got to celebrate that one a little differently.
Did you see the post from the Murray State baseball team?
I did not.
So the team comes out to the pitcher's mound at Ole Miss, and they take the team picture. And I just want to make sure I get it exactly right. Murray State Baseball is the handle. And they have the team picture, and underneath it, it says, "It just meant more."
Okay.
SEC, it just means more.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Murray State Baseball just meant more.
That's funny. That's good. I caught that late. Sorry. Wires aren't clicking.
No problem. It's early.
By the way, and I want to bring to the Florida coach, more video came out. His
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton got a terrific show lined up today. And we had a poll question ready last night before 9 o'clock. I mean, we are rolling today. Hope the hosts don't screw it up too badly. But we're feeling good about ourselves because we got a poll question up. Right as the show started, that sucker was up. Yeah.
I knew what it was yesterday. That never happens on this show.
No.
Ever.
Nope. What, I made one tweak to it? I got my vote in?
But it was a good tweak. It was needed. But first off, congratulations, Florida State. They moved on to the Super Regionals. Congratulations to the Canes last night that got it done against Southern Miss, moving on to the Super Regional.
And to our audience in North Alabama, Auburn got it done early as well, the 4 seed, and they're through, and they'll be hosting a Super Regional.
So congratulations to all of those teams. But I want to talk about the Gators a little bit more because
okay.
Yesterday we mentioned that the Coastal Carolina coach went after the Gators coach pretty hard in his post-game comments after playing East Carolina.
Right. He wins the game. So now he's through to the Super Regional. And before he talks about his team and how proud he is, he says, "I've got something to say."
And goes off on Kevin O'Sullivan, the Florida Gators coach. Never mentioned him by name, but we all knew who he was talking about. Well, I'm sure it was out before we started yesterday, but I had not seen it. As the day went on and I left the studio here, a few people started retweeting 2 separate tirades by the Gator coach. I saw him in a backwards order. The first one I saw was on the field, where he is just undressing what turned out to be, I believe, an NCAA official. He is finger in the face, right in front of his dugouts. All of his players can see it, and he goes off on this guy for 40 seconds or so. Then another video surfaces out in the concourse of the stadium, where you can hear his expletive-laden tirade at another official or a Coastal Carolina athletic director because he abused several people in the course of his tirade. And Pat Forty commented, I thought was funny on the tweet. He goes, that's 14 F-bombs in however many seconds. Even by baseball standards, that's a lot.
Even the late Tommy Lasorda is looking down going, hey, come on, man, watch your mouth.
And he was upset because their game time was moved 1 hour.
Right.
Because the Coastal Carolina, East Carolina game on Saturday night didn't end until well after midnight. So they pushed the start time of the Gator ECU elimination game from noon until 1. Apparently, that's the worst thing that's ever been done in the history of college baseball, when there are several networks televising the games, and ultimately they, along with the site, are in control. So O'Sullivan, after I'm sure getting yelled at by his boss, had a very flimsy apology come out yesterday. David, and I'm being serious here. I get it if you're a lifelong kid and all you ever wanted to do was go to Gainesville and play baseball. I totally understand that. As someone who loved Michigan State as a child, it's the only place I ever wanted to go to school. So I totally get the kid who's in the Gator family that's going to go to Gainesville. But if you're telling me there's a choice where I can go play college baseball between Florida State, Miami, and the Gators, all spectacular programs, all of the Seminoles, have they won a natty in baseball?
No, that was Mike
That's
Martin.
right. He never got
so many times.
But they've all been to the World Series. The
Yep.
Gators and Canes have both won national championships in baseball. If there's a choice, why would you want to go play for that guy? Because the story gets better. They interviewed, my son sent it to me yesterday on, in Greenville, North Carolina on ECU radio. They interviewed one of the equipment managers. And apparently, as the game's starting, ECU comes in on the first base side, but they're in the third base dugout. So they had to walk across where the Gators are. And the equipment manager says he can see O'Sullivan rip into about 4 ECU players. And the ECU players don't pay any attention. They've all got headsets in, and they're just walking. Well, here comes this kid who's working for the team, carrying the whiteboard across the field. And the kid, you got to love him. Because he hears the coach ripping at the players, and he looks over at the coach and says, hey, coach, how you doing? And the coach goes, F you. I'll stick that whiteboard up your bop, 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 bop. Okay. We're going to kick your... And the kid then looks at the coach. He goes, well, that's all great, but I don't even play on the team. And so he was yelling at the ECU players. He was yelling at anybody he could yell at.
Yes, he was in a bad mood, having a bad day, and everyone sucked. Yes.
And I ask you, is he done with the apology, or is there some sort, should he be reprimanded in any other way by the Gators, by the NCAA? It's a terrible look for the Gator baseball program. If you follow college baseball, it's a bad, bad look. Just got done watching the Texas coach praise UTSA, their coach, their program, how hard they were. Number 2 team in the country got knocked out of the tournament, talking so fondly about the team that beat him twice.
Talked about how great a man the coach is and that his mentor, and how proud he must be of him. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was very classy, the Texas coach. Not so much from the Florida coach. Right. And ECU pounded them twice, and ECU didn't even win the region.
No.
No, I mean.
Double-digit runs in both games.
Yep. The fact that the AD attached his apology to the flimsy coach's apology is also not really a good look for the Florida baseball coach. But Mark, let's be honest. He's won natties. Okay? Let's cut to the heart of the matter. He's won natties. Okay? He can do whatever he wants. He really can. It will be excused. It just will. I mean, he produces a ton of pros, and they have won natties and gone to Omaha other times. So, they had, for them, a really down season.
Yeah, they did. I mean, after the last few years with the talent they've had in Gainesville, they've been great.
So is it a bad look? Yeah. Is it embarrassing to the school and to the kid, or excuse me, to the coach and the program? Yeah. But don't know what to tell you. He wins, he produces pros. I mean, he ain't going anywhere.
And as the texture just said, O'Sullivan's always been an a-hole.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. I mean, for goodness sakes, he stole his best friend's wife. Okay. I mean, he's a charmer. There's no doubt about it. But he's won natties, Mark. I mean, this is real easy. He comes in and it's that Gordon Gee line. Okay. I mean, Scott Strickland, looking at O'Sullivan going, you can't behave this way. Bah, 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 bah. He leaves the office. Somebody says to Strickland, what are you going to do? Just letting him blow off some steam. You're not going to do anything. Are you kidding me?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop by Napier's office and tell him he's got to act better. That's what I'm going to do.
Right. Hey, none of this high GPA and acting with class, okay? Act like a blankety blank, but win us a natty.
Win.
It's the SEC. And the C doesn't stand for character. You got it? It can, but it's optional.
Actually, it stands for cash, okay?
Miller and Moulton.
So, little fallout from the Gators yesterday after their elimination on Sunday. Miami got it done last night. Well, early this morning, late night, taking down Southern Miss to advance to the Super Regional as well. Florida State did so in quick fashion. Miller and Moulton, the starting five is next. Thanks for listening. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Look at Johnny Finger Lakes getting all creative.
No, that's not true. It's not true, Johnny. A poached egg is actually better than far better than a scrambled egg. And it's not even close. I like a fried egg. Love a fried egg. Had a fried egg over the weekend. Fried it in duck fat. It was even better.
Paul, David Samson, they added an hour to his show and they added it at the front end. So his show is now 7 to 9 a.m.
No, ambient. Fried eggs are just that, fried. They're fried in oil or butter. Poached eggs are poached in water. You put them in boiling water and poach them. And then there's a poached egg dish that I've made called shakshuka. It's quite delicious. It's a North African or Middle Eastern meal. You poach eggs in like a tomato sauce. Oh, my goodness, is it delicious.
So apparently you can poach an egg with vinegar?
Yeah, you put a little vinegar in the water. Keeps the eggs solid when you poach them.
Gotcha. I do like a fried egg. I don't have it very often, but if I'm at a breakfast joint. I usually play it safe and go scrambled, but thanks for playing, Spitz. Have a great rest of your day. Oh.
20 seconds.
How's your cholesterol, Johnny? And I'm not passing judgment because the way I eat.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. David Samson not joining us at the top of this hour. If you missed the big announcement for David Samson, he got a new deal and they doubled the length of his show. So his 1 hour show is now a 2 hour show. The problem for us is they put the hour in the front. So instead of him going 8 to 10, he's going 7 to 9. Well, he can't appear on our show at 7 if he's got his own show at 7. But he can appear on our show at 9. So we're going to see how this works today. He said he gets done about 8:45 to 10 to 9. He's got some promos to cut and what have you. But 9 o'clock, David Samson scheduled to join us. We're hoping to continue the Tuesday tradition here on Miller and Moulton. Before we get to what we normally do, what's our poll question again?
How do you like your eggs? It's National Egg Day. Poached, fried, scrambled, or hard-boiled. Fried in the lead. Scrambled second. Poached a distant third. And hard-boiled an even distant fourth.
Mark's a poached and I'm a hard-boiled. And we knew we'd finish third and fourth. But, well, hey, sometimes you just need horses to fill out the Kentucky Derby field. Time for
The starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
Well, we'll start with the NFL. By the way, the football magic numbers 86 to the big Thursday before Labor Day weekend to get the college football season kicked off with 16 games. 86 days away from that. 93 days away from the Eagles hosting the Cowboys to kick off the NFL season. Lions Pro Bowl center Frank Ragnow retires. He's 29 years old. He played all but one game last year, but he was banged up. He was a first-round pick back in 2018. 7 years with the Lions, 6 very good ones, 4 Pro Bowls. But Ragnow says physically, I can't do it anymore. I tried. I wanted to. I can't. And so he retires. Second-round pick out of Georgia, Tate Ratledge. Looks like the likely replacement. So the Lions lost both coordinators and lose their Pro Bowl center. Now, hopefully they get Hutchinson healthy. Had other guys who were banged up, particularly on defense. Hopefully they get healthy, but
that's a really top-end offensive lineman.
Yep.
When reading this stuff yesterday, he was the second-ranked run-blocking center in the league. He's considered one of the top guys in the league. So when you lose 1/5 of your line and it's that important, it's going to have to impact the Lions in some way, shape, or form.
Veteran corner Ronald Darby also retired yesterday after 10 years in the league. He had 12 starts last year with Jacksonville. He had signed as a free agent a little over 2 months ago in Houston. Guess his heart wasn't in it anymore. By the way, do you believe in the Madden cover jinx?
No. Go look at the last 10 years of who's been on it. Find me the jinxes.
Saquon Barkley on the cover of Madden 26. The 49ers trade with the Eagles for defensive end Bryce Huff became official yesterday. Although we don't know the exact draft pick, we're just told it's a mid-round pick. Philly's going to eat $9 of the $17 million on his contract for this year. Bryce Huff reunited with Robert Saleh. Huff had his best years with the Jets when Saleh was the head coach. Saleh now the defensive coordinator back in San Francisco. Baseball, 5,894 on hand for the Marlins-Rockies game yesterday. And at the start of the game, there were not 200 people in the stadium. I have no idea if it was a, quote, late arriving crowd, but literally you hear the Marlins take the field, and there is a wide shot from behind home plate of the stands. You can count them. It's like 135 people at the game as the Marlins were warming up for the first pitch. And the Rockies won.
Yay!
Marlins had a 4-1 lead, couldn't hold it. Rockies won 6-4. They're now 10-50 on the season. That's a robust 167 winning percentage. Brewers have won 8 in a row. Edged the Reds 3-2. Tigers bombed the White Sox 13-1. Gary Carpenter had himself a day. Not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs for Detroit. Mike Trout had 3 hits, one of them a homer. Angels scored 6 in the first, held off the Red Sox 7-6. Ohtani homered in the 7th, game-tying sac fly in the 9th, but the Mets scored 2 in the 10th to beat the Dodgers 4-3. Padres pick up a game on the Dodgers. They're just a game back. They had San Francisco 1-0. And this A's slide is epic. They've now lost 18 of 19. The Rockies are feeling bad for the A's. Byron Buxton with 5 RBIs. Minnesota 10-4 over Oakland, Sacramento, Las Vegas, the Oz. One other baseball note. Maybe now's the time to try to make up some ground on the Yankees. Closer Luke Weaver on the injured list. Probably out to the All-Star break. There's a chance he comes back in early July, but he hurt his hamstring warming up in the bullpen in Los Angeles on Sunday. They're saying 4 to 6 weeks. So Yankees, they got some pitching injuries. They got a comfortable lead. We'll see if Toronto, who's hot, or the Rays, who were hot, can continue to make up some ground. But what's it, 6-game lead for the Yanks over Toronto?
Yep. Puts a lot of pressure now on Williams, who wasn't doing that well as in a relief job, because he's going to have to move to the closer role more than likely.
Right. College softball. Texas beat Tennessee 2-0. Texas advances to the finals for like the third time in 4 years, where they will not face the 4-time defending champion Sooners from Oklahoma. Although, boy, did Oklahoma go to the mat. They're down 2-0 in the 7th to the $1 million pitcher for Texas Tech. 2 outs, 1 on, and 2 strikes on the 9-hole hitter. And she takes the $1 million pitcher deep to tie it at 2. Pretty damn dramatic. Red Raiders score 1 in the bottom of the 7th, however, and dethrone the 4-time defending national champions 3-2. So it's Texas against Texas Tech in a best-of-3 for the softball natty beginning tomorrow. First time Oklahoma is not in the championship final since 2018. This is a very John Wooden UCLA-esque run that has been temporarily pushed to the side. College baseball. We had 6 regionals decided yesterday. Miami, after midnight, held off Southern Miss 5-4. The Canes will now travel to Louisville in the Super Regional. 5th-ranked UNC over Oklahoma 14-4. The Tar Heels will host Arizona in a Super Regional. 8th-ranked Oregon State shut out Southern Cal 9-0. Florida State will have to go to Corvallis to play the Beavers in the Super Regional. Murray State knocked off the 10 seed Ole Miss, 12-11. Murray State jumped out to a big lead. I think it was 12-2. Ole Miss scored 3 in the 8th to cut it to 1, but couldn't get it done in the 9th. And Murray State took a team picture in Oxford, which simply said, "It just meant more." Ouch. Murray State will face Duke, with Duke having home field in the Super Regional. LSU trailed Little Rock and rallied to win 10-6. 6-seeded Tigers will host West Virginia in a Super Regional. And Tennessee beat Wake Forest 11-4. One of the few times, by the way, that SEC beat ACC head up in the tournament so far. Tennessee will face Arkansas in Fayetteville in the Super Regional. 4 SEC teams of the 16 left, but 5 ACC teams of the 16 left. Golf's longest day was yesterday, 36-hole qualifying for the U.S. Open. Talked about it earlier. Max Homa carried his own bag for 36 holes, 3-putted the 36th hole to not qualify, then screwed up the playoff. Mason Howell, he's 16. He's finishing up his junior year of high school. He's going to Georgia, but not for another year and change. Yeah, he shot 63-63 to win his qualifier. Yikes. Of those who didn't make the U.S. Open as of now, Ricky Fowler, Max Homa, Padraig Harrington. One other footnote. Did you see the guy from Indianapolis who made it, Mark? Dr. Matthew Voigt. He's a dentist. He's a dentist in Indianapolis, but he was born in Pittsburgh. And with the U.S. Open at Oakmont, he said, well, why don't I try it? And he made it all the way through qualifying, and he qualified yesterday in 36 holes.
Wow, that's a great story.
And now all the dentist appointments next week are canceled, and probably Monday after Father's Day as well, because Dr. Voigt's going to be at Oakmont.
Well, he'll be back by Saturday.
He will, but you know what? You might as well take Monday off. Okay, you might as well hang around for a day. French Open, men's side, top seed Sinner, third seed Zverev, sixth seed Djokovic, all easy winners. I thought Djokovic would have trouble with Cam Norrie.
He just cruised.
He destroyed him 2-3 and 2. The fifth seed Jack Draper, however, got upset in 4 sets. Women's side, Coco Gauff and Madison Keys both won. They're going to face each other in the quarters. Mark, we were following the match during the show yesterday. Jessica Pegula lost to an unseeded French woman. Yeah, she was a qualifier, ranked 361st in the world.
Yep.
It's been a really long time since someone with that ranking made it to the quarters of the French. Ouch. Finally, Wander Franco. Remember him?
Yes, I do.
He was the Rays shortstop a couple years ago. Yeah. His trial finally got underway in the Dominican Republic. 29-year-old faces 4 major charges involving a 14-year-old girl. If found guilty on all charges, he faces up to 30 years in jail. The prosecution says they're going to call 7 witnesses beginning Thursday. The trial, they say, could last 8 months. It took them 2 years to get the trial. Wow. But there you have it. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was starting 5. 5 big stories in Wander Franco here on Miller and Moulton.
Just meant more, huh? For Murray State.
That's what they posted. It just meant more. Yep. Hey, you get 13 bids. You host a bunch of regionals. You got the most money, especially on baseball.
Yeah, it's not close there.
Right. You know, they're going to come after you. Never mind, we talked about it. Some of these SEC schools won't schedule these guys. So there you have it.
And Murray State was like a 41-14 team. They had a good record.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I watched the last 5 innings of that game last night, and they just hung on. Ole Miss had a big crowd there. It was loud as they were coming back.
Yep.
Those Murray State kids were just holding on for dear life and were able to get the final 3 outs after in the 8th it looked like it was going to explode on them. They got out of the 8th with just having the 1-run lead and then got it done in the 9th. So good for Murray State. Always like to see those stories, an opportunity for them now as they play an unranked team in Duke. And we talked yesterday, Duke's got that center fielder that has to miss game 1 because he took 2 steps on the field with his celebratory hard hat on.
Yeah, come on. They still have 3 days they can overturn that.
They should.
Come on. What are we doing? All right.
They should. Well. We'll see if they do. This is the NCAA after all. They can do event planning. They're not nearly as good as righting wrongs, David. That's not been their forte.
By the way, I said Wander Franco's 29. Yeah, I didn't read my own writing properly. He's 24. So thank to those who pointed that out, because he is, in fact, 24. Hey, if he's found not guilty, the Rays have a dilemma.
A real dilemma.
Because he's under contract. They won't have to worry about it until next year, but he's got a lot of years and a lot of money left on that contract. And they may not want anything to do with him. Miller and Moulton. Dave Birkett, who covers the Lions, to join us in 45 minutes here on Miller and Moulton.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and 1 replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
With
sound.
summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp, and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thank you, EB. I do kind of like, it's kind of like our morning sports center, what you missed yesterday. It's just up to me to make sure I don't miss anything.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. Those expecting David Samson, his show, Nothing Personal with David Samson, now begins at 7 a.m. after for years beginning at 8 a.m. So David will join us in 2 hours for the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, which is heard in Southwest Florida and Jacksonville, the 239 and the 904. For those of you that don't get it on the radio, there are a few apps that carry our show, and there's millerandmoulton.com where every hour is posted as soon as the hour is finished. So there's still plenty of ways for you to take in our weekly segment with David Samson, which now will be 9 a.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. Dave Birkett, who covers the Lions, will join us in a little more than 30 minutes' time. Karl Smesko, head coach in the WNBA these days. We'll talk to him about the transition from college to pro life, how much he likes it. And then I'll turn it over to Mark, who will talk to Karl about, now that he's moved from the 239 to Atlanta, what concerts has he taken in? Because the two of them are big music guys.
He and I went to, I forgot, who did we go see? We went to one concert here locally together.
Wasn't it a
Sammy
headbanger?
Hagar.
Oh,
No, I think it was Sammy Hagar when he toured with his band, and Michael Anthony was in it. Yeah, that was a few years back. But yeah, and that's mellow for
right.
Karl. Karl's
right. He's a banger.
Hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
John Forslund, by the way, next hour, as we begin to look ahead to the Stanley Cup final. Did you see Don Cherry and his opinion yesterday? 91-year-old grapes.
I did not. His opinion is probably that Edmonton's going to win and Florida's bad for hockey. And
well, I don't know if Don Cherry would say Florida's bad for hockey. I mean,
he roots for Canadian teams.
He does. I guess he picked Edmonton in February. And so he said, I'm not. He said, the wild card Skinner, the goalie, if he keeps playing the way he's played in the last month, I like my pick. If he reverts back, well. But John Buchacross with an impassioned post. I don't know if it was on X or somewhere else yesterday, but I ended up seeing it, in which he said, hey, what is a Hall of Fame after all? It's a museum. And what's the purpose of the Hall of Fame? And he just goes into it. And eventually he got to the point and he said, Don Cherry and Barry Melrose should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And he talked about their contributions to the game, over 30 years on television for both of them, blah, blah, blah. And he said, Grapes is 91 and Melrose is battling Parkinson's. Are you going to wait till these guys die? Okay, if you're going to do this, do it. It was pretty impassioned from Buchacross yesterday.
And obviously he's very close with Melrose.
Yes.
So you understand that, but adding Don Cherry into it's a good thing. You asked something of me in the starting five. Do I believe in the Madden curse?
Right.
And I don't. But let me give you the reasons why. Because if you look back now, the cover star for Madden 25 was McCaffrey. He struggled with injuries that season.
That was last year.
Right.
Right.
The year before was Josh Allen.
Yeah, that did fine.
44-18 that year.
Right.
The 23 cover was John Madden. So it doesn't count.
Right.
In 22, they had Mahomes and Brady.
That's pretty good.
21, they've had Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Mahomes, again, was on the Madden 20 cover. Now, Antonio Brown was on the Madden 19, but that was his last big year with Pittsburgh. 6 consecutive season with over 1,000 receiving yards and a career-best 15 touchdowns. Brady before that, Gronk before that, Odell Beckham before that, and Richard Sherman before that. We need to put the Madden cover jinx to bed.
So what you're saying is they may have had an SI jinx thing working for them, but they shook it.
It's gone. It's gone. Now, I thought the insult to injury was not that Saquon was on the cover. That's awesome.
Right.
They left the player that he jumped over in the photo.
Backwards. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's really the shot when you think of it.
Right. I hate to date myself here, but it was kind of like, the kids movie Monsters, Inc., okay, in which Billy Crystal's character is in the bottom right corner of the magazine cover, okay, and while most of his face was covered by the stamp on the cover of a magazine, he goes, "I'm on the cover of a magazine."
That's it. That's this poor guy's head.
Right. And if he has a good sense of humor, he can tell people, "I'm on the cover of Madden." Really? Yeah.
What I would like is an autographed copy of the Madden with both of them signing it.
If you're that, I think it's a Jags player, isn't it?
It
Okay.
is.
If you're the Jags player, don't you ask Barkley for an autographed copy?
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, man. Could you autograph this? I'm him, by the way.
And I don't know if the gamers buy it every year because most people say that Madden hasn't, obviously the new rankings of players and that, but with the EA Sports college football game being rejuvenated last year, everybody was high on that a year ago. So I don't know. My video game days have passed. I can't play them well enough to play outside of maybe the occasional golf game with my kid when he's in town. But that's about it.
Okay. All right. Those used to be very heated. I mean, not as heated as our former producer and your son. I mean, man, that could ruin an outing, whoever lost those games. Things would be thrown. People would stomp out of the house.
So John Cassia, our old producer, came over and played my son when my son was, 10, 11. And he whooped up on Jake pretty good.
Right.
And talked the talk, walked the walk. I'm the king. And then they played again a couple of years later.
Correct.
Someone's thumbs and fingers had gotten faster. And John rage quit at halftime.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That was it for him. That was basically his retirement.
Yep. That was like all of a sudden, you're playing hoops against your boy there, and you've had no problem backing him down and beating him in the driveway. And all of a sudden, one day you go out there and you're like, all right, fine, let's go. Yeah. And he whoops you outside, driving to the basket, the whole deal, blocks your shot once and lets you know things are different from now on. That's okay. We just told your son this is what we have to deal with at work. Have more
every
compassion.
Day.
Have more compassion for your dad now.
Right. Exactly. But Barkley on the Madden cover, I don't buy the curse one bit.
Okay, I hope not, because obviously I root for him, like him. And, he's in position now after last year. He can reach the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think if he has 2 more, he doesn't have to have 2 more years like last year, but if he has 2 more big years, I'm talking 1,500 plus years rushing. It doesn't have to be 2,000, but I think if he can stay healthy, 1,500 plus yard seasons, he had the one monster year with the Giants where he stayed healthy, rushed for around 1,400 and all the catches. Then you know, Dave Gettleman, the guy who drafted him, who said he's a gold jacket guy. I mean, running backs, there's not a magic number. It's not like 10,000 yards gets you in or 11,000 yards gets you in. Football's not about numbers, but I think with a running back, I do think you need some numbers.
That's really interesting, David. He's had 4 1,000-yard seasons.
Right, but, that's not what it used to be.
No, it's actually with the number of games that are played, it's thought of as a much more obtainable goal. The fact that he's not done it in a few years, obviously had the 1 year where he was gone all year, pretty much injured.
Yeah, well, he's had 2 years almost like that with the Giants. But how many years does he have above 1,300?
3. His rookie year, 2022, and then last year, obviously.
Okay. So, I think he needs 2 more years, that are significant. How many total yards is he at? Is he at 7,000?
Yes. Rushing. I don't have the receiving yards in front of me. I just kind of looked it up quickly there.
Well, you got to get to 10 to have a shot. I think you may have to get to 11 or more to have a shot. Because then also you start getting in certain company, like you get in other Hall of Famers company. You get into the 11,000 club, you're talking Edger and James. That's like Fred Taylor, his numbers are just shy of Edger and James. And if you watch Fred Taylor play, I can understand why you think he should be a Hall of Famer. All right. Otis Anderson's numbers, Fred Taylor's numbers. If numbers count in football, and usually they don't, but to me, you got to be over 11,000 yards rushing, unless you're Gale Sayers and your career's cut short, or Terrell Davis and your career's cut short. But
it was asked in our Twitch chat room, is Derrick Henry a Hall of Famer?
If he stopped today,
right?
He's played 9 years in the NFL because he won the 2015 Heisman. So I think he's played 9 full years in the NFL. He's probably over 10,000 yards.
He's over 11,000 yards.
Yeah.
He had the 2,000-yard season. He's had two 1,500-yard season and a 1,900-yard season.
I'd say yes. If by chance Derrick Henry retired today, I think he would. Plus, he's over 100 touchdowns, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Derrick Henry would get in.
Interesting to see where Barkley is on that. Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, Tadalafil, and Viagra, Sildenafil are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, No hassle, just real results, American made at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You got your thing?
Yeah. So the Florida qualifier, they didn't get it done yesterday, rain or whatever. They're finishing today for the Open. Justin Hicks is leading it. He's 50 years old.
Oh, wow.
Luke Poulter's third. Graham McDowell's 3 back. And that Neil Shipley kid that turned pro is 3 back as well. They've got somewhere between 6 and 10 holes left per player.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on this first Tuesday of June. Thanks so much for being with us. If you're just joining us, you did not miss David Samson. His daily podcast is now a 2-hour thing, and it begins at 7 a.m. Eastern. So David will be joining us in our bonus hour on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern. David Samson coming up in a little more than an hour and a half. Dave Birkett, who covers the Lions in 15 minutes. Karl Smesko, longtime friend of the show, longtime women's basketball coach at FGCU, left early last season to go coach in the WNBA. He and the Atlanta Dream are off to a good start. We just want to catch up, ask him about the difference between Division I and pro life, and, just talk about life in the pursuit of happiness with Karl Smesko in about 40 minutes time. John Forslund, a little more than an hour. Stanley Cup Finals, a little more than a day away. And today's National Egg Day.
National Egg Day. Our poll question is, how do you like your eggs? Poached, fried, scrambled, or hard-boiled? Fried getting over 55% of the vote.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would be like a dogfight between fried and scrambled. I thought they'd both be in like the high 30s, low 40s.
I kind of figured fried would win. I think scrambled would be a little closer, but poached and hard-boiled, the two that you and I voted for, a distant third and fourth.
Right, where those 50-1 shots at the Derby that we hope you put a few shekels on, because we ain't going to be in the money.
Time now for the coolest thing I've seen today, brought to you by Air Advantage. MyAirAdvantage.com, MyAirAdvantage.com online. If you want to call them, their number is 433-4635. That's 239-433-4635. 18 months, no interest, no payments. Available, a Ream proud partner. Again, online at MyAirAdvantage.com. And David, I had to, I have to search for this. And I found this last night or at some point yesterday. And I don't know if it necessarily qualifies, but I like when people can reconcile, and when organizations or universities can reconcile maybe with themselves before they have to reconcile with what their program is. And give it up for South Florida. Because yesterday, South Florida announced that they are going to induct Jim Leavitt into their Athletic Hall of Fame. He was their football program. There is no South Florida football program without Jim Leavitt. And if you follow the program, the ending was ugly. Very ugly. He was accused of choking a player. He then sued the school. They settled. He got a few $1 million, and they were not even close to on speaking terms. And the fact that the guy who is the architect of the South Florida program is rightfully placed in the Hall of Fame there like he should be, I really give a lot of respect for South Florida to do that. I do. Because there were wrongs on both sides.
But you can't tell the story of South Florida football without Jim Leavitt.
Bingo.
Period. End of sentence. Can't do it. So, sometimes divorces, relationships end badly. But, that doesn't mean that so-and-so wasn't a special person in your life. So I'm with you. Good for them. And I'm glad he's at a place that he'd accept it.
Right. They also, by the way, in their 5-person class, put the late Amir Abdul-Rahim, the basketball coach who passed unexpectedly last year, and brought them into their first ever top 25 ranking into the Hall of Fame. Nice gesture.
Very nice.
So give it up to South Florida. That's the coolest thing I've seen today, brought to you by Air Advantage. Visit them online, myairadvantage.com.
Speaking of Halls of Fame, and we were talking about running backs, do you know Fred Taylor has rushed for the most yards for a running back who's not yet in the Hall, not counting Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson, because they're only just now going to become eligible for election, because Gore played through 2020 and Peterson through 21. So they don't count. They're third and fifth all time. But Fred Taylor, Mark, 17th on the all-time rushing list, 13 years in the league, 11,695 yards. About 250 yards or so ahead of Derrick Henry right now. So Fred Taylor is the guy who's must for the rush for the most yards who's not yet in the Hall. And then when the day comes that he gets in, and I do think he will get in, I do think it will take a while. I mean, it took Tony Boselli a while. So I think it's going to take Fred Taylor a while. But then, you start working your way down the list. Who's the next guy with the most yards rushing who's not in? And, and where is it they draw the line?
Well, and David, I hope you're right with Fred Taylor. But what we've talked about, and I do not have a list in front of me, but what we've talked about for years is the log jam of players, with more and more players, obviously, every year becoming eligible since their retirements. The guys that don't get in those first few cracks, it gets harder and harder, particularly at certain positions. And running back, to me, is one of those positions where it's going to get harder and harder to get in, David.
Saquon at 7,200 yards. He's what, 27, 28? I think he's 27. I mean,
he's 28.
Okay. He does only have 48 rushing touchdowns.
He's got a lot of work to do if we are going to put him in the Hall of Fame. A lot of work. David.
Yeah, he really does.
I mean, when you're talking about where Taylor is and where Saquon is, they're 4,000 plus yards apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, they are. So,
and certainly playing in New York and Philadelphia helps. It does. I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely.
And winning the last game helps a lot.
Yes, it does.
So there's work to be done for Saquon. I think Derrick Henry would be in if he doesn't play another game.
It's a remarkable 9 years he's had. I mean, when you're averaging 1,250 yards a year and you're averaging 12 touchdowns a year? I mean, for 9 years, as a bell cow back too. Man, you've been on the field damn near every down.
And they don't have that anymore. I mean, there
Right.
just aren't players like that. And that, to me, will be held in very high regard when they're inside that room, whenever the time may comes.
By the way, he's under contract for 3 more years. And let's just say, he starts to slow down. So let's just say, I don't know, he gets 3,000 plus yards over the next 3 years rushing. He's got a chance. Mark, he's 3,500 yards behind Adrian Peterson, who's 5th all time in rushing. I mean, Derrick Henry, knock on wood. I mean, Derrick Henry's definitely, barring injury, going to finish top 10 all time. He could finish top 5.
1,900 yards last year.
Right.
Last year.
Right. Playing
At
for
30 years old.
Playing for a team that really likes to run the ball too. Massive offensive line.
Right. I mean, he played with Tennessee, and they obviously adapted to, they built their whole offense around him, basically. And now he goes to Baltimore, and they revamped their offense to use him even more and use Lamar a little less running the ball.
He's 900 yards behind Jim Brown. That stops you in your tracks. Now, Jim only played 9 years, though. I mean, I do have to put it in perspective. Dave Birkett next.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sorry, YouTubers, I don't know how to ban someone from YouTube. I'm going to need to learn to do that. But whatever. Dude, I go to church every week. I don't need your Jesus preaching. It's a sports show, okay? Go away. You're not adding anything to anybody's conversation at all. Dave is on. Seems very serious.
Okay. I'm going to give him a chance to sell his book, and then you can ask the first question.
We should buy one for Trent.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. The great John Forslund to join us an hour from now as we begin our Stanley Cup final prep, a rematch of last year. David Samson joins us at the top of the bonus hour at 9 a.m. Eastern. Karl Smesko in a little more than 20 minutes, the head coach of the Atlanta Dream, longtime friend of the show. Dave Birkett's kind enough to join us. He's covered the Lions for a while, and he's an award-winning writer for the Free Press in Detroit. You can follow Dave on X at Dave Birkett, Birkett. Dave, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. Good morning. And you wrote a book about the Lions, which I think we got a decent amount of Michiganders who listen to this show along the I-75 corridor. This looks like a great Father's Day gift. I'll give you a moment here. How can people get your book?
Oh, yeah, definitely a great Father's Day gift. I don't know that it's available in-store down there. It certainly is up here, most Barnes & Noble locations and other little bookshops. But you can go online, readypress.com. My personal site is linked below all my stories and order it. It should be available at most retailers. And you're right, great Father's Day gift for the Lions fan in your life. Takes you through the entire history. You might need to update it now that they had the season they did, and Frank Ragnow's kind of surprising retirement here this offseason.
Well, there you go. How surprising was it? He wasn't at OTAs. He was, he fought through injury a lot. The guy we all know is one tough customer with what he played through. But how surprised were you with yesterday's announcement?
Yeah, I was definitely caught a little bit off guard. I mean, look, I heard a couple months ago Frank Ragnow was unhappy with his contract. I don't know what discussions went on at that time about, getting him a new deal. I don't think the Lions were going to do anything because he had 2 years left on his deal. And I don't think that's, the exact reason that Frank retired. I take him at his word. He's a very upfront and honest guy, and we all know the injury history that he had dealt with, but it's possible it's just the totality of it all. This is a guy that's fought through significant injury problems in 2021. He had a toe issue that year that kept him out of the lineup, re-injured it the following year. It was inoperable. It was a condition he was always going to have to deal with. Knee injuries, ankle injuries. He tore his pec last year and played through that. Still was a second-team All-Pro, and ultimately I think he just sort of looked at, where his body was and what he was going to have to get out of it to continue playing for, 1 or more years at the money that, he had left on his contract. And as good as he was, it just wasn't worth him to risk that for him and his family, which I know he values greatly. So leaves the Lions in a bit of a hole here. He's a really, really good player. They have some potential in-house replacements, but no doubt they're losing a really good one in Frank Ragnow.
Well, and toe injuries don't sound like a big deal, but toe injuries actually ended the career of Jack Lambert and Deion Sanders. So, you get turf toe, and that can bother you for the rest of your life. Well, in-house, I mean, they knew Frank was banged up at the very least. They got the second-round pick from Georgia, Tate Ratledge. This is a Super Bowl contender. I mean, can the rookies start for them?
That's the big question because, I was talking to somebody yesterday and that's exactly what I said, right? Like, this is a Super Bowl caliber team. Are you really going to entrust your line calls to a guy who's never played the position and who's a rookie, when you have to protect Jared Goff and keep him upright against some really good teams this year. So I think we're still a ways away from that scenario playing out or knowing, what's going to happen exactly. Graham Glasgow, veteran, played all three interior line positions, started seasons at both guard spots and at center, both for the Broncos and, for the Lions way back in 2018. He was their center. He's certainly a possibility and gives them some insurance. But, the Lions have really operated as if Tate Ratledge would be their center since the start of rookie minicamp a month ago. It's the only position he's really played. When we were out there at OTAs last week, he was taking first-team reps. So I think the Lions are trying to get him ready, see him at least as Ragnow's eventual replacement, and whether that's this year or not remains to be seen.
What else is going on with the OTAs of no-shows? I know Anzalone wasn't there. Are they concerned at all about that?
Well, that's another guy that I think he's probably in a similar boat to Frank Ragnow. He's a guy that wants an adjustment to his contract. And, I don't know, the Lions obviously so far have not, shown the inclination to do that. And, whether that means, or whatever that means for him, I guess, in his future remains to be seen. He seems kind of dug in. But yeah, no, he's a guy that's another important player to what they do. I mean, a captain on defense, just like Frank was a captain on offense. And, right now there's no Derek Barnes. Jet Campbell is not doing much. Malcolm Rodriguez, their number 4 linebacker, is recovering from a torn ACL. So right now the Lions are thin at linebacker as well. So really good team, but a whole lot of questions going on right now about the Lions.
Dave Birkett covers the Lions for the Free Press in Detroit. You can follow him on X at Dave Birkett, Birkett, and also you can contact him directly if you want a copy of his book, Detroit Lions, an illustrated timeline. It would make a great Father's Day gift. Hey, this is more a gut feeling because obviously you and I both have dozens of examples that can go either way. But losing both coordinators, is this a really big deal? Is this going to be a big deal in 2025, but then it won't be as big going forward? I'm just curious, your gut feeling, you're around the team all the time. You know the significance that Johnson and Glenn had. For those of us on the outside, is this as big a deal as we seem to think it is?
I do think it's something to, at least monitor. And look, my thought on the Lions is this, right? Like, they are a really good team. They have one of the best rosters in the NFL still. They've got some young talent. They've got some young players that should be ascending, guys that played key roles for them last year that, are still really early in their careers. So I think whatever things have gone on outside this year, the coaches leaving, they've got 10 new coaches in here. It's not just the coordinators, right? It's 10 new coaches overall. Now losing Frank Ragnow, your all-pro center, that's a lot to overcome. And so I definitely don't think the Lions are a 15-win team. They may not even be the favorite to win the division this year. That doesn't mean they won't. And again, I think they're going to be a really good team. But yeah, they're the likelihood of them having the type of season that they had last year has gone down significantly because you lose a Pro Bowl center, you lose a really, really good offensive coordinator. I mean, one of the best offensive play callers in the game. You lose the continuity that you had on defense with Aaron Glenn there for 4 years. even though they promoted in-house and even though they really kept a lot of the same offensive structure in place by hiring John Moulton, there's a whole lot that they have to overcome.
No doubt. What side of the ball would you be most worried about? Does Goff, because he called the plays and they promoted from within, are you more comfortable with the offense? And obviously the defense had problems last year, mainly because of injury, but with a new coordinator and all the players coming back, if there's one side of the ball you're most worried about, it is?
Well, look, I think it cuts both ways because they were the best offense in the NFL last season. But Ben Johnson, there are special play callers just like there are special players. And I think Ben Johnson was a really special play caller. And so I am a little bit worried about the offense not being the same type of juggernaut that it was last year. That doesn't mean they're all of a sudden going to be averaging 24 points a game and struggling to move the ball in the red zone. But I definitely see, some hurdles that they have to overcome on that side of the ball to be the same type of explosive unit that they were last year.
So many guys coming back from injuries on defense. Obviously, the headliner's Hutchinson. I saw the video that came out like 4+ weeks ago when it looked like he was still favoring the knee. How does he look? How do the other guys look?
Yeah, it didn't look good at camp when we were out there last week. The Lions have a really shortened off season here. No mini camp. They only have 2 weeks of OTAs instead of 3. So we got our first of 2 looks at him, and they're not in pads. They're not doing a whole heck of a lot, but he's moving well. Dan Campbell said he's bending well. He's touching the grass. There's a lot of things that make you believe he's going to be the same Aiden Hutchinson. And I guess we'll find out for real when pads come on this summer. But as of right now, and the things that I've heard from people in the organization, I wouldn't be too worried about Aiden returning to form at some point here in the very near future.
Dave Birkett, the Free Press in Detroit, covering the Lions. Follow him on X at Dave Birkett, Birkett. Dave, all the best, safe travels, and early happy Father's Day. Hope the book continues to do well, and hopefully we can talk again.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you guys again.
Dave Birkett of the Free Press in Detroit, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton.
A lot of questions for that team. I mean, 10 coaches. That's remarkable to have that type of brain drain in an organization. I mean, we've heard Pat for a while, Pat Kerwin on the show. He's not as worried about the offense because of Goff and the promotions from within. He's more worried about the defensive side of the ball. And if Anzalone's going to hold out, I'm not high on him, but he is a defensive captain.
I understand, but
I think they can do better at that position.
I'm totally with you. I wouldn't give him any more money either. In fact, I'm looking to replace him. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with him being 100+ tackles guy on your defense. I don't know how many of those plays he's making at or behind the line of scrimmage. I think he's making those plays 5-7 yards downfield.
I'm with you 100%.
I think he's also undersized. So yeah, that one wouldn't bother me if I'm the Lions. I feel I can do better there. You mentioned Pat Kerwin. He will be joining us beginning tomorrow for June and July once a week. He will join us at 8:00 on Wednesdays. So Pat, who 10 months a year joins us twice a week, but June and July, because there's not much going on, we bring Pat on once a week, and the day he settled on is Wednesday. So look forward to Pat Kerwin Wednesdays at 8, and then Seth Everett immediately following. So, the great 8 hour on Wednesday is done.
By the way, got a text right before that interview, and obviously it was planned with David Birkett, so we weren't going to cut that off. But I do like this question. I will ask it of you, David. In their prime, who would you rather have, Adrian Peterson or Derrick Henry?
Adrian Peterson. Even though Derrick Henry, for a big man, has shown the ability to take it to the house, but Adrian Peterson's a problem. Sideline to sideline, goal line to goal line. Adrian Peterson was a problem. I mean, Derrick Henry's a different kind of problem, but
he's a more persistent problem.
Yeah, Adrian Peterson.
All right. Just good text from a listener. 21,000 is the text line. If you've never texted the show before, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000. Then you can text away. And we'd love to hear from you about anything that might be on your mind, like the guy that simply just texted eggs, hard boiled.
You got a problem with that?
You got a problem with that? Then I got a problem with you.
It's National Egg Day, so that's our poll question. How do you like your eggs? Poached, okay, fried, scrambled, or hard boiled? So hence the little Sopranos act there.
Do you, because you picked hard boiled, do you go, because I know you don't cook, so
Right.
I'm, like my wife will make 6 hard boiled eggs and then she'll take them to work for a snack one at a time. Do you ever hard boil? I mean, you like them that way. If I, gave you 4 eggs and said hard boil these, would you know how?
Mark, I don't know if I've never made an egg in my life. I may once have scrambled some eggs. For some reason, that's in my head. But Mark, no. I do scrambled out of convenience when I go out. I don't necessarily
Convenient
love
to
them.
who? The cook?
Yeah, I just, whatever.
I
I'll
mean,
do
you're
scrambled.
ordering eggs at a restaurant any way you want. How is it convenient to order scrambled?
Well, I don't know. They're less messy. I don't really want to order the eggs where they could run into my other food. Okay, so normally it's just like, yeah, just scramble the 2 eggs. Yeah, fine, whatever. I don't care. I mean, that's not the part of the, I mean, I know for most people, for me, it's the bacon, it's the sausage. Can I get rye toast? Oh, if I can get rye toast, now we're cooking with heat. Never mind if I can get pumpernickel toast. If I get pumpernickel toast, I'm going to be there 2 hours. Oh, we're eating here. We may order another meal.
If you like rye and pumpernickel toast so much, I can't understand why you wouldn't order a fried egg to dip said toast into. You, in the not mixing of the foods, you are really running amok with what an egg yolk can do for you, David.
I don't know that I really like eggs all that much. Okay, but for whatever reason, my mom did hard boiled. That was her thing. The deviled eggs, the hard boiled eggs. I like them. It's the only thing I've ever put salt on in my life. I don't put salt on anything. I used to put just a touch of salt on a hard boiled egg. Divine.
Miller and Moulton and David's lightly salted hard-boiled egg. If you caught it, it's divine.
Quoting my late father-in-law there. I used to say that all the time when something was good.
Atlanta Dream head coach Karl Smesko. He's next. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
I love my shower.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You'll never imagine this, Tim, but it's diet and exercise.
And I know that you and many others thought I couldn't do it.
Well, it's funny. We had a couple over on Saturday, and he has lost like 70 pounds, but he's done the Ozempic.
Gotcha.
And his wife sells it, and she walks in, she looks at me, she goes, "Sick or shots?" And I said, "Diet and exercise." She went, "Why?"
I do like her.
It's a great day of golf, man. It really is. It's still the Florida thing's still going on. By the way, the 50-year-old, I didn't even check his Monday qualifier, had something on it, David. The 50-year-old who's leading the Florida qualifier, the 17-year-old's in third.
The homeschooled kids from Jacksonville there?
Or
is that Poulter's son?
No, Poulter's son's in it too, but he's older than that.
Gotcha.
He's in college at Florida, I believe.
I haven't heard anything about Charlie Woods trying to qualify for the U.S. Open.
He didn't get through sectional.
There you go.
That's why him winning that tournament was remarkable. He's a good golfer. Don't get me wrong, but
Right,
he's a 603rd ranked amateur. I mean, he's a nobody in the amateur golf world. For him winning that tournament, that's remarkable. Not supposed to happen. Yeah, Homa's he's in a bad spot, man. He is in a bad spot.
Yep.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home in the 239 and the 904, final hour of the show in Lake City, Live Oak and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's National Egg Day. How do you best like your eggs? Fried, poached, scrambled, or hard-boiled? Vote accordingly. John Forslund to talk a little hockey in 35 minutes. David Samson now joins us at 9 o'clock Eastern on Tuesdays. So he will join us 1 hour from now. But it's a thrill for us. We've known him a long time. We like him a lot. To welcome him back to the show, Karl Smesko. He's the head coach of the Atlanta Dream in the WNBA. They're off to a 5-2 start. They've won 4 in a row. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, thanks for having me on National Egg Day.
Well, you got to vote then. How do you like your eggs?
I go sunny side up.
All right. It didn't make the survey because we had to get David's hard-boiled on the survey.
Right.
Karl, take us back to getting this job, how it all started. You know, we had heard your name for other college jobs, but the WNBA, we had not seen your name. So getting the Atlanta Dream job, just how did it all come about?
Well, I heard from a search firm, and they asked if I would be interested in talking to a WNBA team. Didn't even tell me which team. And I said I would be interested in listening. And then, you know, a couple of days later, I talked to Dan Padover, the GM, and we had a really good conversation. And then we met in person, and we seemed to share a vision for maybe the future of developing a championship level team. A couple days after that, the owners flew into Fort Myers and met with me. And, you know, I don't think that conversation could have gone any better. Larry was great. And it made me, you know, the WNBA is something that I was following closely and really enjoyed. And it was always a place that I would be interested if I had the opportunity. And fortunately, I got the offer.
How different is life at a Division I college versus life in the pros? Obviously, the players are better. They're older. But for you, is coaching them any different?
Well, I would say there's a lot of differences. I think our players have been great. You know, they're pros. They know how to go about their work. They listen. They're trying to do the things that you want to do because they want to be successful. I think the biggest difference is in college. You know, we'll get even a new player. We'll get them in for the summer for 6 weeks. You're allowed 8. Most programs have them in at least 8. We have the fall, which is about a month before the season, to do more workouts and get them acclimated to what they're going to need to do. And then you have 30 practices and 45 days before the first game. And then you still don't feel ready. And then in the W, it's literally 2 weeks of practices and you're playing. And, you know, we went, I don't even know what it was, like a game, 6 games in like 11, 12 days, something like that. So the preparation between games isn't really the same as in college, and the amount of time you have to get a team ready isn't the same. So you have to manage your time differently, and hopefully over the course of the season, you can, you know, slowly implement more things and continue to improve throughout the year.
How similar is the offense you ran in college to the offense you're running now? I mean, you've always had the same philosophy on the game. I can't imagine your coaching style changed too much.
No, I mean, we still want to get high return shots. Now, how we go about it is a little different. Obviously, we have a Hall of Fame level player in Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones, an all-star post, who are just two of the best players around the rim. Obviously, at FGCU, we could never get players of that caliber inside, so we had to go about it a different way. But so we've incorporated some, you know, deep post-up catches and things like that because of the talent we have. But we're still, you know, spacing the floor, moving the ball, trying to get the best shots we can every time.
You know, we asked you over the 20-plus years about if you had a post, and you probably had 2 players who were terrific out of the post. Very early on, Fleming, and then, obviously Sarah Hansen, undersized, but lived basically in the post or pretty close to it. And you always said, listen, my offense could run great with a post. Okay, we don't have to play 5 out. Trust me, 1-4 would do just fine. So, because like you guys sought out Brittany Griner, okay, so you wanted to run this offense with a post, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's about getting the best players you can, and then I think as a coach, you have to be flexible in what you want and build your system around the talents of the players. And, Brittany Griner is still a dominant post near the rim, and she's extending and doing more things on the perimeter now as well as the game has changed, and she wants to develop her game in that way. But you want to get really good players who can help you be efficient. And like she's one, Brianna Jones is another. It's really up to the coaches to put in a system that can kind of fit their skill set.
How good is this? How much of an adjustment for you is there? Obviously the players are better, but when you're going up against, obviously the best talent in the world nightly, how different is it for you to game plan this?
Well, I really enjoy the game planning part of it. I will say the game plans that we have in the W at this point in the season aren't as detailed as they would be in college just because of the lack of time. Like you'll have we've already played a back-to-back, and so you're playing a game the next day. So it's really not easy to put in anything too sophisticated, but you do want to give your team the best chance to win. So you'll pick like 3 or 4 things that you really want to emphasize and you think could hopefully make the other team less efficient, or areas on offense that you think you can really exploit the other team. But I think like once you start doing, like we've gone over some game planning things, and then we would do something similar against another team, and then that allows that next game plan to be a little bit more advanced. So I think that as the season goes on, it'll be, more similar to kind of the level of game planning that we were able to do in college.
Now, I know you coached against her at Iowa in college, but, the league threw you and the Dream right into it. Second and third games of the year, a home and home with, the Caitlin Clark Show and the Fever. Did that turn out to be a good thing, though? Because, national television, both games, and hey, if they're going to be the marquee team or pretty damn close to it, let's see how we shake out.
Yeah, they were 2 great games. Both of them went down to essentially the last minute, last possession. And I think anytime you're playing good teams, they're going to show you what you need to work on. And I think Indiana, they're really well coached, and they showed us some things that we needed to get better at in a hurry. And, to get the win at Indiana, I thought was a really big moment for us to, we got a win under our belt, and we got to see some things work. And it's one thing to see it work and then you fall just short. It's another thing when it works and all of a sudden you can win. There's a kind of more belief in the process. So I think it was really valuable to play those 2 games early.
I know you're busy now. I know the season's going and the grind is there, but did you have time in Atlanta, now that you're in a city with concerts, to see anything good before the season started?
Yes. When I first got here and moved up here permanently, I saw Jeff Tate, lead singer of Queensryche. He was about 3 miles down the road from where I'm living. Concert was great. Did Operation Mindcrime in its entirety. So I have got to see one, but not nearly as much as I'd like to.
Do the players know some of your quirkiness and dorkiness? And we say that with great affection. Do they know? Now, some of the coaches know you very well. I'm just curious, do the players know your musical taste?
They know my musical taste. They were playing a song the other day, and it was sampling some Ozzy. So I had them play some Ozzy so they could see where the sampling came from. So we have had some Ozzy on during practice. They seem to enjoy it, or at least I led myself to believe they were enjoying it.
Are you having as much fun, and are you enjoying this new adventure as much as it sounds like you are?
Yeah, I really am. I was ready for kind of a different challenge, and the W was always something that I hoped that I'd get a chance, but at the time there was 12 and now there's 13 teams. So there's just not that many jobs. A few years ago, there was another W that showed interest, and I had like 7 interviews. I thought I was going to get it, and it kind of fell through. And it was probably the only time that I was really disappointed that something didn't work out. So to get this opportunity now, it's been great. It's been a great learning experience. I'm trying to get better at everything I need to do from a W perspective that's different from college. And I'm just going to keep working at it, and hopefully we keep getting better.
Well, congratulations on everything. The gig, the 5-2 start, second highest scoring team in the league. Been very entertaining product. Listen, I know you're back. The West Coast trip continues. Thanks for joining us on some time off. I don't know when we'll talk again, hopefully come playoff time.
Oh, that sounds great. Hey, good talking to you guys.
You too, Karl. Best of luck with everything. Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye.
Karl Smesko. And you can, follow him on X at Karl Smesko. No coach, no nothing. Just here's my name. That's all I got.
Does he post anything at all on X? I mean, you can follow him, but does he actually post anything? He may post less than you and I do.
He reposts some things, but original stuff from him, no. You have to go to the official Atlanta Dream site, him getting doused with water, some of his, post-game speeches and what have you.
But they're 5-2.
Yeah.
They didn't win a lot of games last year. They're off to a great start. You could hear it in his voice. He's having fun.
Yes.
We've interviewed Karl a million times. And sometimes Karl, when he was at FGCU, just kind of went through the motions until I brought up a music question. Karl's into the basketball. He's liking this. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
Great guy. Wish him nothing but the best. He's been great to us for years. He was great to this community for years. Wishing him all the best with the Atlanta Dream. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Adam, I'm with you. I don't know why Queensryche broke up either. And I'm being serious. I like them. Thanks, Mongo. We've always been big fans of Karl. Just a good dude. And he tolerated us over the years.
He doesn't say his name, but there's a guy that qualified for the Open. You may have a name. A 17-year-old, because it's this Monday Q info. 17-year-old shoots 63-63.
Had it in the
okay. What's his name?
Mason Howell. He's going to Georgia, but he's just finished his junior year of high school.
Zero bogeys. 63-63 without a bogey in the U.S. Open qualifier.
That's 18 under without a bogey and 36
That's
holes.
birding half of your holes.
Yeah. And he said just finished his junior year of high school.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. We're having a fun time today. First Tuesday of June, got a jam-packed show. Dave Birkett, Free Press out of Detroit, talking about the Frank Ragnow retirement and the Lions with all the changes to their coaching staff this offseason. Karl Smesko just joined us, longtime friend of the show when he was a college coach at FGCU. Now he's in the WNBA. Just caught up with him, talked to him about the transition, life in the pros, and what have you. You know, do they get his musical taste? You know, I mean, come on. He threw a little Ozzy at him.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm sure they loved it.
Like he said, yeah, they seem to like it, or maybe
I imagine that they liked it.
Right. Coming up on the American Paint Supplies hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. In 15 minutes, it'll be John Forslund. And then David Samson will join us now Tuesdays at 9 a.m. That's because they moved his show. We didn't move him. They moved him.
And he didn't leave us.
No.
Now, that's the key thing, is that David wanted to continue coming on the show. We have no idea why, but we are very thankful that he does. Our poll question today is about eggs, because it's National Egg Day. How do you like your eggs? And, you know, when I originally sent my 4 choices to David, I had sunny side up on the list.
Right.
David said, what about hard boiled? Sunny side up went away. Hard boiled came on. Smesko went sunny side up. Of course he did. Fried getting 50% of the vote. Scrambled 35% of the vote. Poached 10. Hard boiled 5.
Mm-hmm. Mark called it right away. Took a look at the 4-horse field and said, my horse is coming in third and yours is coming in last. And I said, that's okay. I can handle that today.
But during the last segment, before we had Coach Smesko on, David acknowledged that he doesn't think he's ever made an egg except for perhaps once he made a scrambled egg. And he's not really sure.
I'm not. There's like a fuzzy hungover moment in which I think, you know, I'm like, listen, so if I crack these and, you know, just a couple minutes and flip them over and, but I don't, it's quite possible I've never made an egg.
This person text, and by the way, if you've never texted the show, text Miller to 21,000. Then you can text whatever you'd like, and I will do my best to either read it on air or answer it privately. But this person says, genuinely shocked. How do you go through life without ever having made eggs yourself? I guess King David is royalty. And putting no salt on foods? Wow.
I know. Yeah. It wasn't something that we had much of growing up.
Salt?
Yeah, don't laugh. It wasn't. I mean, I do remember the clear salt and pepper shakers that my mother had. It wasn't. You know why? My grandfather didn't put anything on his food. And he said to me, he goes, you know, if the food is good, you don't have to put anything on it.
That's true. And I put salt on food when I cook it, not when I'm eating.
Right. He was not in, you know, you didn't, no steak sauce, no ketchup. No, he was like, no. Okay. The plate comes, it's on it. You eat it as it's delivered. So at restaurants, I never did. You know, I'd put ketchup on the fries. I'd add a little bit of ketchup on a burger. Okay. I remember going out, you know, the guys were going out, Mark. It was me and my grandfather. I was like 13 or 14. He was taking me out, you know, the 2 men who were going to go out for a night. And I went to grab the A1 steak sauce and I had ordered steak. And he literally it's the only time he ever did this in my whole life. He reached over very slowly, very gently, just grabbed my wrist, looked at me and said, no.
Good for him. That's a great life lesson right there.
Yeah, that was it.
It's a great life lesson. It really is.
So, yeah. And besides, you know, by now, I eat out. Okay, I eat out. I like to eat out. It's social for me. I come in contact with other people. I was an only child.
David,
my mom worked 3 jobs.
I want you to understand that pulling up to a speaker and saying, I'd like a number 3 is not necessarily social interaction.
Well, but then I get to talk to them when I get the food.
That's if they talk to you. I mean, you have to, because the drive-through person really doesn't want to talk to you. They want to take your money, they want to throw your food at you, and they want you to drive away with as little contact as possible. And you and I already screw with them because we pay cash.
Right.
So they're already pissed. They want a card. They want this easy. And not only do we pay cash, if the order comes to $11.42, we might hand them $22.
Or we'll hand them $20.42 and just sit back. Yep. And see whether or not they can figure out it's 9 coming back the other way, or do they do some combination of 8 and change, 9 and change? All right. Yep. But that's my entertainment. You know, I don't have a lot of friends. So yeah, I kind of mix it up at the drive-thru. Always have. Plus I got the radio on. So I feel as if I've already got friends talking to me.
Miller and Moulton leading quite a life in the 239 and the 904.
No doubt about it, man. We are setting the world on fire.
Wow.
No question about it. But yes, I don't cook. I've never really wanted to cook. My grandmother tried. For months, she tried. One summer, I spent a lot of time with her, and she was into cooking. And she's like, "You're going to learn how to cook." It didn't interest me.
So not even in college or post-college when you didn't have any, I mean, because it costs money to go out to dinner every night. Even if you're eating fast food, it's much more economical to eat at home. So you never had, you were never a frozen pizza guy. You never had microwave burritos in the house. There was never anything where you said, I'm eating in tonight.
Senior year of high school, had a microwave. That was the first time. It was like occasionally. Okay, but this is what an idiot I was. Do you know what I'd do? I'd put the entire pot in the microwave, not realizing that the microwave really doesn't want the metal in the.
It really doesn't.
Right. And one day, all of a sudden, I looked, and the top of our microwave was on fire, and there was this big hole, and I wondered, how the hell did that happen? And one of my roommates said, well, you've been putting this pot of spaghetti in it for weeks now. I go, well, yeah, I heat up my spaghetti. And they're like, yeah, you're supposed to take it out of the pot, you moron. Oh.
Wow. I've got nothing for that. I really have nothing for it. And the thing that I'm telling you, we don't do shtick on this show.
No.
He's not making this up.
Nope. Living off campus, Scranton, Pennsylvania, senior year, right above a doctor's office. There were 2 apartments. I had the first floor right above the office, and 4 girls had the apartment, including my friend Jackie right above us. Oh, yeah. I damn near set the place on fire. I was probably about 60 seconds away from it being a problem.
That's just bizarre, because I remember in college, and similar situation, my roommate and I lived above 4 girls and became very good friends with all of them, and their friends and our friends. Like the week before Thanksgiving, before everybody went home, we had our Thanksgiving dinner, of which we cooked. The same thing Mom cooked on Thursday, and had about 20 people, and it was a big to-do, and just something that we did.
I'd eat cereal every morning, and I'd order pizza for dinner. I'd eat half of it for dinner, and then the next day I'd eat the other half for lunch. And for 2 years, I ate 3 meals a day at the cafeteria. And it was a lot of money, but I got my money's worth. I didn't miss many meals at the caf, and I gained the weight to prove that I didn't miss many meals at the caf.
Yeah, I resemble that remark, but I was only in the cafeteria for 1 year. We'll switch. Karl Smesko joined us moments ago. We will switch to the Stanley Cup Final. John Forslund will join us coming up on the other side. David Samson, top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies. For nearly 30 years is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Adam, it's a great point to re-question that. It really is. I think I had a toaster oven in college my freshman year. I don't think we had a microwave. I thought we had a toaster oven. We may have had a little microwave.
Adam, it was Fort Myers because I couldn't afford to live in Naples. And no, that was my wife's doing. It really was. I was in a totally different room as it was happening. And she called out in a panic.
This show's just flying by. Yeah. When you stack them like this, holy cow.
Come on.
And Nick's, I don't know if you're still in here, but Homa's he's not going to lose his card, but he's gone from 10th in the world to 90th in the world. His caddy, his longtime friend, quit. Then he hired a tour caddy. He just fired him, carried his own clubs in the qualifier. He's just a mental mess right now is what I was referring to.
Gave a quote yesterday in which he said he enjoyed the solitude and not having someone next to him all day. He said he enjoyed it.
Okay.
Okay. He could use a dog, a Snickers,
right,
a Bender.
He might need a cat. He might need, I don't know what he needs.
Right.
He needs something.
Yeah, dog might be too needy. Golly.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we call it a show in Port Charlotte and Venice, Lake City, Live Oak, and surrounding areas. The bonus hour, which will tip off with David Samson in a little more than 22 minutes' time for the 239 and the 904, awaits at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Joining us once again on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. The television voice of the Seattle Kraken. You can also hear him. The NHL on TNT. Sports USA Radio Network. The great John Forslund. Follow him on X at simply John Forslund, Forslund. Hope you are doing well, John. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Hope you are too. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. So, considering both teams have been down 2-0 in a series in this playoffs, when was it that you realized, oh, wow, we're going to get Florida and Edmonton again?
Well, I think, both these teams, it's amazing what they've been able to accomplish when you take into account what happened last year, right? So I think anything's possible. They have a burn to get back to this point for each of their own agendas. They recognize, in Florida's case, this is an opportunity to make more history. This is not an easy thing to do in a salary cap era, to come back year after year, be elite, and come back and defend your Stanley Cup title. And for Edmonton, I think they just have been living with this burn since Game 7. But the hard part is getting back to this point. So Game 7 last year in the final, after coming all the way back heroically like they did, to see it go away and to live with it. And really, both teams went through regular seasons where everything didn't fall into place. I think there were times where many people were looking at both teams and saying, I don't know if they can get back to that level again. And they had to scramble. They had to fight through injuries. They had to fight off their own demons within their team games to get to this point. But it should be a great final, and it's really hard to pick the edge between either of these two teams.
When, Edmonton's power play has been sensational, particularly at home. How much of a difference is it in your estimation for Edmonton to have games 1 and 2 at home this time? Is it that big of a deal? Because that means essentially they can keep Barkov away from McDavid perhaps for 2 games.
Yeah, I think last change is vitally important. I do think center ice depth favors Florida when you go 1 through 4. Now, the only thing, as you guys know, that's different about all of this is McDavid and Draisaitl are off the charts. They're 2 of the best players in the world. They may be 1 and 2. and 2 is not too far behind number 1. So depending on how Knobloch deploys them, and he will double down with both guys in the same line if he needs to. But that's become a move of desperation, where it used to be a rule of order for that team. Now they have more balance. When you look at their scoring in the playoffs, it's amazing that they've been able to get scoring, from their third and fourth lines from a variety of different players. Now, with Zach Hyman being injured, that's a big factor for Edmonton. But I still think they have the depth that's different than it was. So what does all that mean in regard to your question? Well, your question was about the power play. And for years now, the Oilers have lived off their power play. The power play feeds their game. They wait for those opportunities, and they jam it down your throat. They still have that weapon, like you say, especially at home, but it doesn't have to be always in play. Then it gets to how the games are played and how they're officiated. I do believe Florida likes to be physical. We know that's in their DNA. They like to make it difficult on Edmonton's defense to get out of the zone and come 200 feet up the ice. That's going to be important, and then it's going to be important to see how much leeway they get physically. If it's tight, if the officiating's tight at the beginning of the series, I think it will be, then at home, Edmonton can take advantage of that opportunity with their power play and feed off it.
Talking the Stanley Cup Final with John Forslund. It gets underway tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on TNT. Follow John on X at John Forslund, Forslund. Has there ever been a goaltending story like Stu Skinner on an elite team before? I mean, we've had teams that have had good runs, and, you got a 1, you got a 2. And, I remember back in the day before they settled on Billy Smith, you had Billy Smith and Chico Resch. But Skinner, he can shut you out for a week, and he can be a tomato can, and you don't know which one you're going to get. And he's damn near won 1 cup, and he might finally win one.
Well, this is a guy that they love in that locker room. Stuart Skinner's not only a very good goalie. I'm not going to go to the elite status with him because he's too up and down, but I will tell you that he's an elite teammate. So there's a bunch of guys in there pulling for him when he's having his struggles. And the one thing about Edmonton is they do have an option with Cal Pickard, who's healthy now, who's still on a 6-game winning streak. So we forget, how badly Skinner had played earlier in the playoffs, and then Pickard had to come in and play the way he did. So Chris Knobloch has an option, which a lot of teams don't have, which the Panthers don't have. We don't expect Sergei Bobrovsky to falter or not be at his best. That's just not the way it is. He's a Hall of Fame goalie, and he's a money goalie and all those things. So he'll be himself. But if, God forbid, there's an injury, what fallback do they have? Vanacek doesn't have any playoff experience, very little in his career, none this year. So maybe that's an option for Edmonton. We'll see how the series plays out. Back in the day, the Oilers had the great Grant Fuhrer, and then they had Andy Moog, who was, subordinate to him, right? And they used to go back and forth with that. But that's in a different era. This is kind of unusual here, but I can't recall a situation like this where there's a vacillating up and down between how great he can be and how poor he can be. It better level off, because the Panthers are going to bring obviously a lot to this through their lineup. So if he's not consistent, they will make a change. They won't hesitate to go to Pickard. But we'll see how it plays out. It should be a great, fascinating look in this series between the two goalies. There's no question.
Since David brought up goaltenders, John, I want to go backward for a second and just get your thoughts on what the fallout will be in Dallas. With Ottinger getting pulled by DeBoer, It was kind of an ugly situation. We've even said we don't know if DeBoer will keep his job. He's got 1 year left on his contract. That was ugly. Yeah. I know the situation probably better than we do. What do you think the fallout will be in Dallas from how that series ended?
Yeah, I don't think that's good, no matter what anybody says. And you're right, the coach has a year left in his contract. But usually when coaches say something like that, they know something. They're completely fed up with the situation. I can't imagine being fed up with Jake Ottinger. If it is frustration after a game or frustration within a game to make that move, this is a highly decorated veteran coach, Peter DeBoer. Why would he do any of these things? He knows how to work the media. So I find it strange. I don't know if they roll everything back next year, Ottinger will, as he says, he will put a lot of pressure on himself to be great. He wants to be the starting goalie in the Olympics. He's going to have that opportunity. Going to have to have a great first half of the year in order for that to happen, but he still has the capabilities. So the athlete, I think, will use it the best way possible. The key is, what does the rest of the room feel about this comment, right? How are they with their coach saying something like this? I'm not sure they play a round of golf in the summer and everything's okay, or they have coffee before camp starts and everything's okay. To me, that was deep. That was a deep cut. That was something you normally don't hear in the third round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. In the first round, yes, because coaches get fired in the first round if they lose, if there's high expectation. In the third round, that's very unusual, especially for a coach of this status. So I smell something fishy in the water. I'm not sure this is going to play out over time once the owner sits on it for a while and talks with Jim Nill, the general manager, and they kind of see where everything is. The owner's already made a couple of indirect statements about what went on here. So I think they'll probably get through a postmortem on their season. They'll get to the draft. It'll be interesting to watch this over the summer. If they do bring Peter DeBoer back, obviously, in the last year of his deal, if there's any malaise at the start of their season, something will happen because Dallas is in a window. And right now they're not living up to their own expectations. They expected to get to the Stanley Cup final this year. Didn't happen. And they're always close. But those teams that it doesn't happen for, that are always close, those are just as dangerous as a team that, goes on a 10-game losing streak during the regular season and they fire the coach. That's how I read it.
So back to the Stanley Cup final, when these two teams played last year, obviously each was able to establish their style of play because they each had 3-game winning streaks in the same series. I'm just curious, since both teams still play the same style, which team do you think is more likely to establish their game? Florida with the forechecking and the physical, Edmonton with the speed?
I think it's going to go back and forth and until it settles into maybe a seventh game again. I see it as a long series. I look at 4 components of any playoff series and I try to check boxes for each team, and you don't have to check all 4 of these boxes to win. But this is just, in my opinion, that I've used over the years to analyze a playoff series. And I start with goaltending because that's the X factor that's never changed over the generations. So I'll give it to Bob, even though Skinner can be heroic, but you have to give it to Bob in this instance. Then I'll go to center ice depth 1 through 4. This is where it gets interesting because 1 through 4, it's absolutely on Florida's side, and another Selke trophy for Sasha Barkov. And you have Sam Bennett and the way he has played, and maybe he's their most valuable player in the playoffs. Then you have Anton Lundell, who's an outstanding checking center. And that third line is not only effective when it comes to scoring, but they can shut down a top-end line on the other side. And then the fourth line, if it is Tomas Nosek, he's an excellent fourth center. Edmonton doesn't have 1 through 4 depth to match that, but they do have 1 and 2 that can maybe surpass all of that. So that, to me, could actually be a wash. You get to the third component, which is trust in your team game, no matter what the score is, and that's what we're talking about here. Both of these teams have exhibited that. Both of these teams can lean on their special teams. I guess the key will be Florida's penalty killing, and if it can remain elite against this power play, that's going to be fascinating to watch. I think so. Those 2 aspects in terms of the team against team, I think is a wash. And the last thing is the intimidation factor of physical play. And in the previous series for Florida, it was a no-brainer against Carolina. Edmonton doesn't really play that way. They intimidate you with their skill and who they are, and they throw 97 over the boards and 29 over the boards, and that's enough to intimidate both teams. But I think Florida will have an edge when it comes to their forechecking, and I think that's what they need to get to, and they have to punish the Edmonton defense. And the Edmonton defense has been great, but, getting Ekholm back will definitely help them, but it's not as solid 1 through 6, in my opinion, as Florida is. So it's very, very tight. I got a slight edge going to Florida with a sentimental hope that Edmonton gets a chance to taste it because this thing with McDavid is a burn now. And I think it's frustrating him. And I think we'll see a different Connor McDavid on the other side of this, personality-wise, should he win the Stanley Cup.
Obviously, McDavid and Draisaitl don't even need to be spoken about. And you look at maybe it's Barkov and Tkachuk. But if you look for an unsung Bennett, I mean, there's so many for Florida. But if you look for an unsung hero, like to me for Edmonton, a guy like Evander Kane's going to have to score a big goal. When you look at the unsung heroes, who are you thinking about this series? Because there's always one.
I think it's already been an incredible playoff for Brad Marchand. And I think, at 37, it's funny to say a player with his pedigree has something to prove, but I think he does. And I think he wants to, be a leader that way. I think on the back end, a hidden story for Florida has been Seth Jones and the way he's been able to play. So those two trading deadline acquisitions have been key for the Panthers. Corey Perry somehow has managed to have a spectacular playoff run, as a 40-something. I mean, he is just another guy bound for the Hall of Fame that needs to pick up the slack for Hyman. So without Hyman, the first power play option goes to Perry. And then Corey Perry needs to do Corey Perry things. So he needs to crowd Bobrovsky. He'll probably brush Bobrovsky tomorrow night in game 1. I would expect that. These are all setups for later in the series and how the series will be officiated, but there'll be a test there. So, I look at that. And then Connor Brown is another guy for Edmonton that's under the radar, that has had a very good season, great penalty killer. He was injured in the previous round, but he appears to be healthy, and that's going to help their depth too, because, again, that's going to be the key for Edmonton against Florida, is how deep they can go with their forward group and how it matches up against what Florida brings. Again, a slight edge to Florida with all that being said.
John, I got about 15 seconds. You okay with the Florida coach not wanting the coaches to be in the handshake line?
I wish he went to the handshake line. I don't know what the big deal is. I understand what Paul's saying. I have a ton of respect for Paul. As you know, we go a long way back. He's a very good friend of mine. But so is the other guy, Brindamore. So
right.
I don't know what's wrong with it. I just think, get in line, shake hands. The players know who you are. The players know the assistant coaches. I mean, it's not like the entire organization, scouts and so on are in that line. It's the people that actively participated in the game, and the coaches are competitors. The coaches are very much competitors. It's obvious in any playoff series in any sport. Shake their hands.
John, as always, we are very appreciative of your time and your insight. Enjoy the finals. Hopefully we can talk soon.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp, and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning.
Good morning.
How's it feel to have to work 2 hours a day?
Man, oh man.
It's a
I don't know
big
how you
difference.
guys do it.
It's a big difference, isn't it?
The biggest one for us is when we went back to 4. We did 3 for a while, and with 2 people, 3's not hard. It just isn't. That 4th hour is much harder.
2 on my own is something else.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can.
But I do love it. But the preparation, it seems like it's more than twice the preparation, though.
And obviously, it'll get a little easier as you know.
Yeah, I've only done it 2 days. And it
you'll
feels
get-
like Friday already.
And we know you don't sleep much, but who knows that you may have to work a nap into your weekly routine.
I'm going to have to do something. I was watching Mobland at 2:30 this morning. I couldn't sleep.
Any good?
I loved the first episode. I am
Okay.
a buyer. I'm going to finish it.
That's on Paramount, right?
Yeah. I think it. Yeah. I'm not watching it on Amazon, but yes. So
Okay.
right now, the mind screw is that I think it's 7 a.m. The only time I've ever seen you guys for years is 7 a.m.
That's right.
Oh, it's totally messed my mother up. Okay. I mean, because she used to do, you at 7 a.m. She knew it was Tuesday. Okay, so now only now does she know today's Tuesday.
Oy vey.
Now, do you usually, I know you're doing this today, but do you need some decompression time usually after the show to just?
So yes, so this is an interesting thing. I didn't even have time to go to the bathroom, which somehow my body knows after every live show I go to the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have to go during a show, which is remarkable for me since I'm an 8 times a day guy. And so my stomach is struggling at this moment. I'm going to have to figure this out on Tuesdays.
Well, you signed up early. You
Too risky. Yeah, I hear you. I could have at 8:55 started, and I just couldn't take the chance. I could never be late to a live show.
remember we start playing the music at 9:01. I can tell people. You really have. We could fill to 9:02. We're not that good, but we really could give you 7 minutes.
I appreciate the offer. I will keep that in mind, but my body will just learn that on Tuesdays, I'm going to have to cross my legs till 9:15.
Understood.
It's all good. Happy to be here. Thanks for moving the time.
Oh, no. Thank you for continuing to do it, David. Really and truly.
Absolutely.
By the way, I'm watching Sirens on Netflix.
It was good.
I'm only 2 parts in. Apparently, My wife's already seen it, and apparently the next 3 are.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Tuesday of June. And that is when David Samson is going to be joining us from now and for the foreseeable future. Because now he's busy beginning at 7 a.m. Nothing personal with David Samson. It's a 2-hour thing, and it starts at 7 a.m. So he's literally just off his show and joining us now. Follow David on X at David, the letter P. Samson, David P. Samson. So tell us about this. Was this your idea? Did they bribe you into doing it? I mean, do you like it? Talk.
So when Metalark's deal with DraftKings, I licensed Nothing Personal to Metalark, which is Dan Lebitard's company, and I own Nothing Personal. And it was a 1-hour show. And when my agreement ran out and Metalark's agreement with DraftKings ran out, there was negotiation for a new deal. And DraftKings wanted to know if I had interest in doing a second hour. And I said, well, I'll let you know. Let me see how the licensing deal goes with Metalark. So I negotiated with Metalark as though there'd be a second hour. And then Metalark finished its deal with DraftKings, and it just started yesterday. So I'm now live 5 days a week from 7 to 9 a.m. And it is it's a big difference, guys. I have such I'm in awe of you for doing 4 hours a day, what the two of you do. It's hard. And I listen, no one's feeling sorry for us. We get paid to talk for a living, which is one of the great gifts that the audience could ever give. But I am extremely anxious about it. My first cause is I didn't want to have my audience, because imagine if you've got people listening for an hour and then it's only half the people listening to each hour, which would be the same number of people. And I want to start analyzing the numbers after a day, which is stupid. And now I've done 2 days of it. And it turns out that the full audience is staying with me for 2 hours. And we've even gotten yesterday was a bigger day than we've had. Now that could be because it was new, etc. But I love the preparation. My favorite part of the day is when the red light is on. But certainly I'm taking care of my voice differently than I used to. A little extra tea. I need to figure out sleep a little bit, guys, because I'm going to need it a little more than I get. But there's so much content. There's so much to talk about that part doesn't worry me. It's just being alone for 2 hours that it can be a little daunting.
Well, obviously, one of the things we always talk to you about is baseball. It's obviously where you cut your teeth in this world. And, you know, with the Dodgers-Yankees series over the weekend and then a Dodgers-Mets series, I don't know what type of previews we're getting, but it to me is already shown, and we've kind of looked at it, the imbalance between the National League and the American League right now is staggering.
Amazing,
David.
So one thing that we would always think about before a season would start during my career in baseball is we would start small with our team, and then we go a little wider and look at our division, then a little wider still and look at our league, and then wider still looking at both leagues. So there were different levels as we were comparing ourselves to our competition. And it is true that right now the National League is just deeper. I would say there's a chance that all 6 playoff teams in the National League are going to be better teams than any of the 6 teams in the American League. And that's with all respect to the Yankees. But I really feel as though when this happens, there's nothing changing with scouting or development or different managers. No, it's just one of those things over the course of a life that you see. There are times when the American League is dominant, but this certainly is a time. And that Mets-Dodgers, obviously the West Coast kills me with the 7 a.m. show, even though I'm not going to be in bed that time anyway. But I'm watching the game, and I'm thinking about that the Mets, Dodgers, they made it all the way to the LCS last year. They're going to have a harder path this year.
Much.
And that is interesting. So people viewed it as a preview of this year's National League Championship Series. And I'm not willing to say that, though I led the show today with the word preview as my word of the day, as though this is a preview. But then I talked about the reality is it's so hard to repeat. No one's done it since the Yankees 98 to 2000. It's hard to get back to the LCS. And wouldn't it be interesting if neither the Mets nor Dodgers make it, because they then would be considered unbelievable failures this season. And that's a whole lot of pressure to have as a team.
Well, it's the Braves the last couple of years. It was the Phillies last year. I mean, when you get to a certain point, your fan base expects you to at least get back to that point. And as we know, a best of 3, a best of 5. I mean, the Phillies bullpen, which was great all year last year, at 3 bad days in October, they were home.
And 2 years ago, the Dodgers were swept by the Diamondbacks in the first round when Betts and Freeman went like 0 for 20 in the series or something like that. Baseball, you know what's crazy about baseball? And I think about this a little bit in football too, when you work all season and you get the bye week, and then all of a sudden in the divisional game, you're the home team, number 1 seed, and then you lose. And just like that. But you've had the 2 weeks to sort of enjoy it. Baseball, you can play a whole season fighting like crazy to be a wild card team. You make it, and then in 2 days, sometimes it's not even 24 hours. Here's what's crazy. If you play a night game and then an afternoon game the next day, which happens in Major League Baseball playoffs, you can be eliminated literally in one night. You're gone. And that to me is just crazy because the season's so long, such a marathon. And we talked about it at owners' meetings all the time. What do we do about that? And no one, going all the way back to the late 90s, no one's been able to come up with a way. Expanded wild card, not making a one-game take-all play-in game. All of the things we've tried, owners still feel like they get screwed when they have a good regular season and then they're eliminated in a snap.
Well, in basketball, it takes a little longer to get eliminated.
Yeah, you have a 7-game series.
They've got a final between 2 really good teams, and it's going to draw bubkas from a television standpoint because it's Oklahoma City and Indiana. And the scary news, if you're the NBA, and I don't know if it's scary or not, but Oklahoma City is built like San Antonio was. This could be a team that has to be reckoned with for the rest of the decade. Does a league worry about an Oklahoma City becoming good because it will hurt their television product?
Now, I know that you were not listening to the show because you were doing your own show. I did an entire segment on this just today, and I want to talk to your audience about this because they were listening to you, as they rightly should, before downloading my show and watching it later. The NBA has billions of dollars of media rights deals, and the ratings that you're going to read about, it's a fugazi. The NBA would love the Knicks and Lakers to play every year, just like baseball would like the Yankees and Dodgers to play every year. But the fact is, the TV networks want the content. They want the live sports content. And during the course of a long-term deal, you're going to get Oklahoma City. You're going to get Indiana. You're going to get New York. Not really, because they never make the finals. But you are going to get big, small, medium markets. But it really doesn't have an impact except PR. And what drives us crazy as executives is we have to find a way to do press releases that show that something's positive because everyone's writing negative things. And you are part of this, Mark. You're saying, oh, they're going to draw bupkis. It's going to be a nightmare. But the truth is, financially, it has no deleterious impact on the league when the ratings are low versus high, because what you look at is the actual value of the content. And boy, they've maximized that value. And by the way, what they're rooting for and what we should all be rooting for, you want a game 6 and 7. That's what you want. And then it doesn't matter who's playing.
Now, in part, it doesn't matter to the NBA because they have an 11-year, $76 billion TV deal that doesn't even kick in till next year. So it doesn't matter if 12 people watch. However, baseball has coming up here very quickly. They've got some TV rights issues. I'm just curious going forward, like baseball had the Yankees Dodgers last year. Oh, thank goodness. Because the year before they had Texas Arizona. So I'm just curious, does it matter a little bit to baseball the next couple of years because they're going to be negotiating some long-term deals?
Yeah, they're doing that now. And rumors came out that they're looking at deals with Apple or looking at deals with NBC. And you can mark my words, they will get more money from the combination for the Sunday night games, wild card game, and home run derby than what ESPN was paying. ESPN was paying $550 million for that package. MLB will get more than $550 when they divide and conquer across these streamers and linear networks. Do they want Yankees Dodgers? Of course they do. Would it be convenient to have as they're negotiating? Of course it would. but it's far more important that they get their local rights taken care of, that they deal with the RSN issue. That's a much bigger piece of the pie in baseball than it is in the NFL, for example. And what you saw, the NBA going more national, the NFL is already all the way there. MLB wants to do that. And when you do that, you basically are protecting against the possibility of small market teams being good and going far, because you're putting everyone in the same pool, so you're not as dependent on a year-by-year basis. So I'm not worried about baseball. They're going to get a great media deal. Rob Manfred and his deputy commissioner, Noah Garden, are going to kick some arse. And it's going to be great when ESPN loses everything. And my wish is that ESPN loses even the right to do highlights as punishment, because that's a whole separate deal that you have to do with the league to be able to show highlights. And I'm not sure that MLB will walk away from that, but it would be fun to see.
I'm just curious, what's the latest you hear out of Vegas as the Athletics have lost 17 of 18? We haven't heard a damn thing in Tampa or in Vegas in a while, and I know you pay close attention to it. So are you hearing anything?
So Tampa's got to find a place to play next year. So they're far more pressing issue for baseball than Sacramento. They've got a 3-year deal in Sacramento. They're supposed to start construction in Vegas this June. Wait to see if they've got the money. Wait to see on all of it. But Tampa, they're not invited back to Steinbrenner Field the next season. The Yankees did a favor to baseball and to the Rays, but it's a 1-year favor. So they got to figure out, can the Trop be fixed and host games again while they figure out if that team's going to be sold, if they're going to build in Tampa, if they're going to relocate, whatever they're going to do. But number one on the pecking order is find a place to play. And remember, we're in June. This sounds crazy. Next year's schedule is being worked on, and teams get their first draft of next year's schedule next month. And you got to know where each team's playing.
Neander of the Rays came out and said that the roof should be done by the end of the year, and then they're told they can get the inside done in time for opening day. I'll bet you the Rays start with a 2-week road trip next year to give them as much time as possible. 20 seconds. What in the world? The 10-50 Rockies. You ever seen anything like this?
No, of course not. They're historic. They're going to lose 130 games. The White Sox and Jerry Reinsdorf are so thankful. I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, that Jerry Reinsdorf sent Dick Monfort like a bag of flowers and a bunch of Chicago-style pizzas, because no one's thinking about the White Sox as being as bad as they were. And my God, were they bad, but they're so much better than the Rockies. They beat the Marlins yesterday. They're going for 2 in a row today, but God, do they stink. They're going to lose 130 baseball games. That's impossible. You can't win that much. By the way, being 50-10 is just as hard as being 10-50.
He's David Samson. Nothing personal at 7 a.m. with David Samson.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and 1 replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think you have to be like under a 2 handicap to even try to qualify. There are rules. So no, if you're talking about the Open, I've never been that good. McNeil's playing in the Corn Ferry event this week, that BMW tournament.
Is he really?
Well, I think you get exemption on the Corn Ferry when you're like 48 or 49. There's, if you have certain tour things. So he's getting ready for the Champions.
Good for him. He's got a little one to take care of.
Yes, he does.
Well, Logic Man, it's difficult. We're in multiple markets. how many people live in our listening area? Well, I mean, we're in
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, what a show we've had. And it's not done. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two. It's all coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. But looking back, Dave Birkett in our second hour to talk Lions after the somewhat surprising retirement of Frank Ragnow, their all-pro center. Third hour, Karl Smesko, the Atlanta Dream head coach, and John Forslund, as we looked ahead to the Stanley Cup Final, which gets underway tomorrow night in Edmonton, 8 o'clock TNT. And we just got done talking with David Samson. His new time is 9 a.m. on Tuesdays because his 2-hour show starts at 7 a.m. It used to be a 1-hour show that started at 8 a.m. So David still keeps us on his schedule, which we're very appreciative of. And all of these guests, Dave, Karl, John, and David, joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Seth Everett, Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow as of right now, as we'll, I'm sure, take another look at the Stanley Cup Final tomorrow and start getting ready for the NBA Finals, which begin on Thursday. Our poll question today, because today is National Egg Day. How do you like your eggs? And over 53% of you prefer them fried. Good for you. Scrambled is next at a little more than 32%. My poached eggs bringing in 9.3%. And David's hard-boiled eggs bringing in 4.7%. Ran out of time. I was going to ask Samson how he liked his eggs, but he and John Forslund take it right to the end.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
No matter how many time cues that we give them.
We pay attention to this stuff more so than most. Our listeners at times, I think, say, this isn't that interesting. Why are you bringing this up? But sorry, got to put up with the quirks of the host sometimes. So I guess it's going to be official. You got 5 teams leaving the Mountain West for the soon-to-be reconstituted Pac-12. So Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State are going to join, we think, Washington State and Oregon State in the Pac-12 beginning next year. Well, let me ask you this. If Boise State can get back to being, Boise State, which they were last year, I mean, they were the 3rd best conference champion, albeit the conference they had to win was the Mountain West. But, I mean, do you think the Pac-12 can regain enough stature? Because they're not going to have it for this next TV deal. This next TV deal is going to get done by December 1st. They're not going to consider the Pac-12 a Power 5 conference. They will just be along with the Mountain West and Conference USA and what have you. I'm just wondering, I always thought San Diego State, what you thought about Arizona State, I thought about San Diego State. With the Chargers leaving, okay, they could be a 1-team town, if you know what I mean, and it could be the college team. It's California. I think they could take advantage of the USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten and actually recruit against them because of it. Why do you want to play in the Big Ten when you can stay home, stay in the region, etc.? I don't know. I think San Diego State, what we think about UCF and South Florida, don't you think people out west think about San Diego State?
Well, it all boils down to one thing, David. This is not 10 years ago. And I think you are close to being on something, but the recruiting against UCLA and USC, David, unless they have the money to get the kids, it doesn't matter anymore. They're going to where they're getting paid. And if there's a huge discrepancy in what USC is paying a kid to come to school there and San Diego State, well, then USC is going to get better kids.
I would like to think, since the only team they have to pay for in that community, San Diego's a big market.
Yep.
I mean, San Diego's slightly smaller than Orlando in terms of market size? And think about it. The only money coming from the community is really for a Major League Baseball team. You don't think they can hit up that community to finance a big-time football team?
David, can they? Sure. It is not as easy as just snapping your fingers and getting money.
Obviously.
UCF's not where they need to be yet financially.
Agreed.
They're not close, and they're in the Big 12. So by the end of the decade, could they have turned it around? I mean, I think there's someone to keep your eye on, definitely. Okay. But I don't think that this league in the foreseeable future has a way to break in and make it the Power 5 again.
No,
I don't think Petiti and Sankey will let it happen.
Hell, I don't know if Petiti and Sankey are going to let the Big 12 and the ACC remain a part of what they're doing beginning in the 2030s.
No doubt.
That's getting contentious. And now it's getting a little, the comments that the ACC and Big 12 commissioners made, which supposedly, according to the conferences, they were not coordinated. The statements, pretty damn similar. I only changed a few words, looked coordinated to, the average person. And Greg Sankey is tired of it. Because what we're apparently finding out is Tony Petiti doesn't give a rat's blank. Doesn't really know these guys, didn't spend his life in college athletics, spent his life negotiating in television. MLB Network, before that CBS. Okay, this is just business to Tony Petiti. Greg Sankey spent his life in college athletics. Greg Sankey's been in the SEC. Remember, he was Slive's right-hand guy. Okay, he's been the commissioner for about 10 years now. I mean, Greg, this is personal to Greg Sankey, and he's tired of being the whipping post of all the other conferences.
Of everything that's wrong with college athletics being his fault, and he's had enough.
He's had enough, and unfortunately, Greg, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, people may take some days off, but they ain't taking weeks off, treating you like a piñata going forward.
Speaking of college sports, yesterday, the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame ballot came out. At the top of the list, Mark Ingram, Cam Newton, Robert Griffin III, and Ndamukong Suh. That's just to get the party started. 79 total players on the list. I would never bore you with all of them, but Eric Bieniemy, Des Bryant, Kajana Carter, Aaron Donald, Marvin Harrison, James Laurinaitis, Ryan Leaf, Marshawn Lynch, Simeon Rice, Peter Warwick. That's a pretty good list. The coaches, Larry Coker, Gary Patterson, Chris Peterson, and remember, Mike Leach is now eligible. So I know you love your halls of fame, and this is just on their college career, and that's why, when you say
it's supposed to be just about their college career.
Right.
How many times does somebody end up going in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the College Football Hall of Fame goes, this is a bad look for us. We don't have them in ours. Okay. Even though you could say, well, he was actually more impactful on Sundays. But for instance, Peter Warwick was what? 4th overall pick of the draft? Bit of an NFL bust. Peter Warwick was dynamic. Don't know if I've seen 5 players more dynamic in college than Peter Warwick.
Well, and that's like James Laurinaitis, I don't know, it was a pro for a while, but as a college linebacker,
right,
he was a stud.
Yes, he was.
He was a stud for the Buckeyes.
Now,
for I believe 3 straight years, a stud too.
Right.
And I think he played as a freshman. So I mean, that's what should be judged, not how they were as a pro.
How about Ryan Leaf?
Thank you.
How about
we all remember the pro career, but there's a reason he was a bust in the pros. It's because he was so highly thought of in college.
He took Washington State to the Rose Bowl. I think he won it, in fact. I mean, that's pretty good. Got Mike Price, the Alabama job. I mean, he was pretty good. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today's the day when, all coming up. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, tadalafil, and Viagra, sildenafil are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, no hassle, just real results, American-made, at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Stud, Peter Warwick. My God. Peter Warwick was amazing. I thought he was a bigger Percy Harvin. Although Harvin in his thighs was so strong. But they were both just remarkable college players.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kerwin and Seth Everett already scheduled to be on Miller and Moulton tomorrow. All guests on the American Paint Supplies hotline. Miller and Moulton broadcasting from the Floormeisters studios. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was a day when, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs, and Naples. 427-3441. That's 239, of course. 427-3441. Online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton for an additional 10% off. Hernando de Soto claims Florida for Spain today in 1539. 1851, the first baseball uniforms are worn as the New York Knickerbockers don straw hats, white shirts, and blue long trousers.
Huh.
Yeah. 1851. 1888. The baseball poem Casey at the Bat is first published by the San Francisco Examiner. The first Goodyear airship, named Pilgrim, takes flight over Akron, Ohio. It is the first to fly using helium and the first to have an enclosed cabin, today in 1925. Dragnet, first broadcast on radio in 1949. I did not know that Dragnet was a radio show before it was a television show, and then it was a movie. And for those of you that are very young, you have no idea what I'm even talking about with Dragnet.
Right.
JFK and Khrushchev met in Vienna today in 1961. Today in 1965, Major Edward White II opens the hatch of Gemini 4 and becomes the first American astronaut to walk in space. He was outside of the capsule for just over 20 minutes. Aretha Franklin's cover of the Otis Redding song Respect made #1 today in 1967. The Very Hungry Caterpillar, the great children's book, was published today in 1969. I had no idea that book was as old as I am. Today in 1970, one of my favorite little rock and roll stories. Ray Davies of the Kinks traveled round trip from New York to London to change one word in the song Lola. Where it said Coca-Cola, he changed it to Cherry Cola because of the BBC's ban of commercial references.
Literally, the Kinks were in New York to start a tour, round trip flight to change one word. Bob Marley and the Wailers released Exodus today in 1977. Jamming, Waiting in Vain, Three Little Birds, One Love. Time magazine named it the album of the century in 1999. ESPN began televising the College World Series today in 1980.
Well, when were they formed? Like August, September of 79. So, this is one of the first major
big live
things,
events they had.
right? And I will say, if you go back and think of the guys that were playing college baseball in Omaha on ESPN in the early 80s, you had Clemens at Texas. You had Palmero and Will Clark at Mississippi State. You had the great LSU and Miami teams battling against one another. I mean, there was some big you had Barry Bonds in Arizona State. I think it was Arizona State. I don't think he went to USC. I think it was Arizona State. Okay. All on ESPN at the College World Series.
And the thing I remember more than anything, and I don't know what year it was, but it was early in the College World Series broadcast, the great fake out that the Canes pulled.
Yes.
Throwing the ball to first base, the pitcher trying to pick off the runner at first. The first baseman dives. The whole dugout points down the right field line. The first baseman gets up looking crazy like, where's the ball? Starts to run into the foul territory. The runner starts trotting to second. The pitcher had never thrown the ball, tossed it to the second baseman for the tag out.
Right.
Remember watching that with my dad like it was yesterday. David, today in 1985, Larry King Live debuts on CNN. It would air each weeknight through December of 2010.
Hello, Brookings, South Dakota. Hello.
Not a good day today in China as the Tiananmen Square massacre occurred when the troops started opening fire on pro-democracy supporters in Beijing.
Right. They tolerated 7 weeks of protest, and then they said, well, I'm sorry, you all have to die.
That same day in 1989, Vin Scully broadcast 23 innings in 2 different cities in one day. Big day today in 92. Many believe he wouldn't have won the presidency without today. Bill Clinton appeared on Arsenio Hall, played Heartbreak Hotel on his saxophone. They think it's the defining moment where he got the young voters and changed the election.
He was in third place when he was on Arsenio. Ross Perot was ahead of him in the polls.
Pedro Martinez had his perfect game broken up in the 10th inning today. In the 10th inning, perfect game.
Yep.
By Bip Roberts. He played for San Diego. Pedro was pitching for the Montreal Expos.
That's right. Perfect game through 9. Unfortunately, the Expos hadn't scored a run either. We need to go to the 10th.
Tiger claimed his 73rd tour victory today, winning the Memorial, equaling Jack's record of number of tournaments. Lorde released the single Royals today in 2013. Succession began its run on HBO today in 2018. And Jay-Z was named the world's first billionaire rapper by Forbes magazine today in 2019. Josephine Baker, Tony Curtis, Allen Ginsberg, Chuck Barris, Curtis Mayfield, and Sam Mills would have all celebrated birthdays today. Billy Cunningham is 82. Hale Irwin is 80. Anderson Cooper is 58. And Rafael Nadal is 39. What did I miss, David?
No, I'm just thinking about some of the things that you brought up, but I got nothing to add to it. Okay, although there are people that think Jay-Z's next. If you know what I mean.
All right.
They think wait a year. Okay, but Jay-Z's next.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, for the good today, we go to Florida. on the beach of Anna Maria Island, where an 11-year-old Michigan girl on vacation picked up a bottle. It had a message in it. Apparently, the message in a bottle was thrown into the ocean 8 years ago in Hawaii and made its way to Anna Maria Island. It had a phone number in it. They texted the number and received a response from a 21-year-old Hawaiian woman who told her that she and her brother had thrown the bottle into the ocean 8 years earlier. Meteorologists from WTSP said it seems unlikely, but it's technically possible. Are you buying that the bottle made it from Hawaii to Florida?
No.
For the bad, we go to Tennessee, where in Rutherford County, authorities are searching for a pet zebra. It escaped from its owner's home and went for a jaunt on I-24 yesterday. Deputies had to close the interstate in both directions, but the zebra escaped into a nearby wooded area. The search has continued for the zebra. For the record, zebras are legal to be kept as pets in Tennessee without any permits. And finally, for the ugly, we return to the glorious place that is Cape Coral, where Alex Wilson was drunk and he was driving. He hit a sign, a fire hydrant, a parked car, and finally a condominium building. His Apple Watch alerted 911 because of the crash.
Uh-oh.
It notified authorities with an automated message that said this owner of this Apple Watch was in a severe car crash and is not responding to their watch. This message will repeat in 5 seconds. Well, Cape Coral police were on the spot, and Alex Wilson was apprehended. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Tuesday, June the 3rd, here on Miller and Moulton.
Only baseball, Major League Baseball today. College baseball, they're in between regionals and super regionals. College softball, no game 3 was necessary. Both Texas and Texas Tech advanced yesterday. So they have the day off today before they play their best of 3 series beginning tomorrow night in Oklahoma City. By the way, I'll give some credit to the Texas softball coach. Was asked, hey, how fair it is, have to keep coming to Oklahoma City. And, basically it's a home game for Oklahoma and they're the best program in the sport. And how fair is it? And the coach just looked right at and said, no, man, this is great. It's an honor to be here. This is awesome. Don't change a thing. And you know what? And if they've got home games, well, you know what? They've earned them. Huh. Good for you. Major League Baseball today, though, everybody's playing. TBS isn't messing around. You know how we've commented during the year in hockey, sometimes Turner would have a doubleheader and we'd go, wow, that's a brave choice. Don't know how many people are going to watch those games.
So they go in Colorado and the Marlins tonight?
No, like I said, TBS is not messing around. They got Guardians, Yankees at 7 and Mets, Dodgers at 10.
Nice.
They got their one night of baseball. You know who they're putting on? The Yankees and the Dodgers. That's their doubleheader. Suck it up and deal. That's what we got. So,
by the way, the Marlins are minus 180 tonight. Here's a question for you. Do the Marlins win the series against the Rockies?
A lot of pressure. They lost game 1.
I know.
Oh, man. I'd say, yeah, you can't lose the series to the Rockies, can you?
Someone's going to sooner or later, and it might as well be the Marlins, David.
Make a dadgum good point, though. I mean, what were the Marlins yesterday? Like minus 200? We said, when will they be that? They're minus 180 tonight? But Rays are home for the Rangers. Rays a game over 500. You want to go over under Rockies Marlins attendance Remember, last night officially listed as 58.94.
So let's put it at 6,200. A little bump from last night.
Right.
Where would you go?
I'm going under.
I
First
would
off,
too.
I now want to have a serious question. How did they get 58.94? Because I saw the picture of that stadium when they were running out onto the field to take the fields, and you hear the announcer going, and there's your Miami Marlins. And there were 135 people in the crowd.
Well, I'm guessing they count the season tickets.
Whew.
Which, by the way, I didn't realize the Panthers this last year jumped their season tickets, the Florida Panthers, that is, by over 35% and retained 90. I know they won, but retained 91% of their season ticket holders. They had 13,500 season ticket holders this past year for the Florida Panthers. That's impressive for a team that was non-existent 10 years ago.
Hell, even 7.
Right.
Yeah. So there you have it. Just Major League Baseball, because we got to wait one more day for the Stanley Cup final and got to wait 2 more days for the NBA finals. So I don't know. Maybe you spend some time with your significant other, with the family. Let them have the television for a night. You know, go out, maybe do something. No,
doubleheader baseball tonight. What are you talking about?
That's true. Yankees at 7, Dodgers at 10. But I'm just trying to make your home life better. I don't mean
I get the question every night from the wife. After she gets home, we talk. She goes, "So what are we watching tonight?" And tonight I can look at her and go, "Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Your call, honey."
Right. You've got some tape gymnastics that I've only seen 3 times. Why don't you put that on?
Wonderful. Great idea, David.
You got to say it just that snarky too. Well, how about some Livy Dunn highlights from 2 years ago? You got any of that?
I'll watch that.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239 444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.